Stringer gets into another one. On Sports 1440
and the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Under pressure again. There's another pitch. Predators get by this one. Robertson sticks to the net. He scores.
Just after 2 o'clock. How are you? Welcome to the Thursday, July 4th edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. Where, hey, today, you know what today is, baby? It's the Daily Grand. Ooh, you will win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. We did the math. It's not hard. 7.2 mil. That's what you could win. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. No one won Lotto 649, so that's now up to $20 million for Saturday's draw. It is Thursday. This is kind of like the calm before the heat. We're going to get a little heat wave in central Alberta, in the Edmonton area, starting tomorrow. Looks like if the weather people are correct, which, you know, well, we can discuss how correct. But the projections are now anywhere from 28 to 31 degrees for 8-9 straight days. So it'll be hot for those of you that like the hot. Get some sunscreen on, wear a hat, get outside, enjoy it. So we've been waiting for a little bit of heat wave. Oiler fans, the heat wave earlier this week. So something tells me you're probably in a good mood, but nothing better than a little sun in July to heat things up. Today on the show, we're going to hear from former NHLer Jimmy Howard will join us in studio. He's in town. Of course, he's coaching the Detroit team in the Brick tournament. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but also just, hockey overall. And, listening to James Hamlin yesterday, who was here, one member of the last Team Brick to win in 2009. And just, you know what? He was a player who was an athlete, played football, played soccer, played hockey. Now, eventually you had to decide, and he became a full-time hockey player, but not before playing many years of football and soccer, and how just kind of important that is. So we'll talk to Jimmy about that. Goaltending, the challenges of it, a very, very challenging position to say the least, right? Not a position I'd ever want to play, but respect the guys who do. Very much so, right? And Jimmy was one of those guys, of course, who worked his way up. Was on the pretty sure he was on the win. Now I'd have to look at the ruling. I don't know if his name's on the Stanley Cup or not for games played those years in 2008. But had a long career. You're a goaltender when you play almost 550 games as a goalie. Pretty good career. So talk to him about that. Also today we will hear from Sean Campbell in Montreal. Talk a little bit about the Habs and a very quiet off-season thus far for the Montreal Canadiens. Jeff Patterson will join us. We'll go east and west here on the show here for the next a few days. There's lots of teams. The Vancouver Canucks, of course, Vincent Desharnais. But are they better? Edmonton looks better. No question. Now, if you take out Fogle and, if Kane's not ready to play, Skinner and Arvidsson, Fogle and Kane, like Fogle and Kane scored 32 goals 5-on-5 last year. It's not bad at all. So, it's not just like, replace him easily. So, now there's the defensive side. I get all that. But we'll see how much better they are. We got Rod Peterson. We'll talk a little CFL, some hockey. Spectre will be by. Doug McLean, talk a little basketball. Here are the Stingers. If you haven't gone to a Stingers game yet, I recommend going. The Stingers are rolling and playing very well. Livingston will be by. As always, it is Thursday. Question today, a fun question for you. Everybody, hey, who doesn't love a good prognostication? And so when the season begins next year, Connor McDavid will start the season with 982 career points in 645 games. Not bad. He needs 18 points to get to 1,000. Obviously, he'll get there. Now, if he gets 18 points in the first 10 games of the season, he would then be the third fastest player in NHL history to 1,000 points. Gretzky, of course, is the quickest, 424. Lemieux, 513. Technically, Gretzky has the top two spots because from point 1,001 to 2,000, he was still under 500 games, which might be the greatest record that Gretzky's ever had. And he's had some doozies. But think, because that is that's long-term dominance. He had 2,000 points in under 900 games. Pardon? Yes, he did. No other player has come close to that. So imagine the fastest guy to 1,000 points is Gretzky. And then the second fastest, also Wayne Gretzky. The only guy under 500 games. Lemieux did it in 513. Then Mike Bossy is currently third at 656. So if McDavid can get 18 points in 10 games, then he'd be at 655. And he would be third quickest. Pretty impressive. Now, if he does it in 11 games, which is 1.63 points per game, which is pretty much right where he averages, and below what he's averaged the last few seasons, in fact. Right? So it seems very doable. And in case you're wondering, I think McDavid, and I base it on the fact that now last year, remember, he got injured early, so that's kind of hard to do it. But in 2022 and 2023, he had 22 points in the first 10 games. The Edmonton Oilers start the season at home, 4 games. We got Winnipeg, Chicago, Calgary, Philadelphia. Only one of those teams made the playoffs, the Jets. Then they're on the road in Nashville and Dallas. Then they're back home for 2 games, and they're the 8th game of the season is against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a Friday night in Edmonton, and I don't know why, Friday night, I just have a feeling, and by the way, Carolina is the other team they play, but I'm predicting McDavid, I'm guessing anyway, his 1,000 point is going to come on October 25th. Sidney Crosby's in the house, and so are the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we'll see. The Oilers first, like the first 10 games, then they're on the road. They go back-to-back. The first back-to-back set or second back-to-back set would be against Detroit and Columbus. And the other thing about the Oilers, because we talked about how the Oilers have 14 games where, sets of back-to-back games. They have 13 games where the team they're playing is on the second half of back-to-back. And 5 times, that's when the Oilers are playing back-to-back. So, for instance, they play their second game of the season against Chicago. The Blackhawks play the night before in Winnipeg. And so think about that. No airport. Got to bus to North Dakota and then fly to Edmonton. Challenging for the Blackhawks. And then the next night, both home games. So the Flames are at home against Philly on Saturday the 12th, and then they play in Edmonton on the Sunday. So the Oilers, they'll face 2 teams in their first 3 games that are playing the second half of back-to-back. Now, fatigue shouldn't be a factor. It's that early in the season. But you might be getting 2 backups that early in the season. for the Edmonton Oilers. I would assume now it'll be interesting. You got Chicago and Calgary. Would you go Pickard, Chicago, Skinner, Calgary? We'll see what they do. Then they got Detroit and Columbus. And later that month, Detroit, when the Oilers fly into Detroit to take on the Red Wings on the Sunday, the Red Wings are playing the night before. So the October schedule is definitely favorable to start the season for the Oilers. The Oilers' toughest stretch next year, I think, is I call it an unofficial 7-game road trip because the Oilers, they're in Seattle on the 4th of January. Then they're into Boston, Pittsburgh, Chicago. So they're going from Seattle all the way to Boston. Now there's an extra game day travel in between. So they play Chicago on the 11th. Then they come home for one game on Monday, the 13th of January. And then they're back to Minnesota, Colorado, Vancouver. Like that is it's 7 different cities because there's one game. They come home after playing Chicago on a Saturday night. Then they play LA and they go right back to Minnesota. It's kind of like a 7-game road trip because you're in Seattle, Boston, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Edmonton, Minnesota, Colorado, Vancouver. That is, I think, the toughest stretch of the season for the Edmonton Oilers. They don't have a crazy April. It's not super easy as far as schedule goes, but they're not going to play 5. They're not playing 5 and 7. They're actually playing 5 in the final 8. They also, if you look at their April schedule, they play the Sharks 3 times. 3 times in their last 8 games. Very odd, but they do. They'll play the Kings twice, the Blues, and the Ducks, and the Jets as well. But their final 15 games this year, it's all against Western teams, and they got 5 of those games against the Ducks and the Sharks, and there's nothing that makes me believe either one of those teams is going to be that competitive. They'll probably be even weaker then than they are to start the season because they're likely to trade some players off. But I ask you, when do you think McDavid will get 2,100? 833-401-1440 in our email inbox. Just a fun little July question for you. He needs 18 points to reach 1,000. How many games to start the regular season do you think he does it? Now, maybe he has a slower start to the year like he did last year. Or maybe he just goes nuclear like he did the previous 2 seasons. And the Oilers have a fairly favorable schedule to start. Hey, guys, do you think the Oilers' plan is to keep Kane and have a super stack forward group from Joe Daddy? Yeah, I do. Evander Kane needs to get healthy first. Here's the latest update I can give you on Evander Kane. Jeff Jackson had mentioned, they're getting a second opinion because surgery is always the last option for players. I know a lot of people just, hey, have surgery. It benefits us. It's not about you. It's about the player. And every player out there will try to do everything to avoid surgery because there's no guarantee that surgery works. Right? I get that it's a really, really, really good chance. But if you can rehab it without it, then you'll do that. So that's what Kane, they're going through that process right now. He might just need rest and rehab. Either way, he's got to get healthy. So they might try, train, then you come to camp and who knows? Maybe they'll realize quickly that, it ain't working. Or they'll realize later this month, surgery is the best policy. And then if they have the surgery, now depending on exactly the extent of it, we hear it's a hip. There's a vast variety of what that could be and how lengthy of a rehab it would be. So we won't fully know, I think, until either A, there's an announcement he's having surgery, or B, comes to camp and we'll see how the rehab and rest worked. Meanwhile, he's going to have to train in the meantime. So the Oilers, if you look at their roster now, you go to Puckpedia, if you have a 23-man roster, they're basically $2.4 million over the cap, and they haven't signed Holloway or Broberg. But you know what? You could take $1 million of that off if you put Josh Brown in the minors. So then they're 1.4, right? You sign Broberg, and they're basically still at 2.4. Then you sign Holloway, and now they're at what? 3.4 over the cap. They could make some moves. I know there's some people that think, they don't like Cody Ceci, they don't like Ryan McLeod. The organization views them a lot differently than you do. They're not perfect players, but they're far from terrible players. Cody Ceci has the 110th highest AAV amongst NHL defensemen. He was 78th in points amongst defensemen and 91st in time on ice per game at just 20 minutes and 1 second. Right? He's played in the Stanley Cup Finals. He's a guy who's shown you repeatedly that in Game 7, he shows up. Goals, the pass to Matthias Janmark. Right? Cody Ceci's not nearly the train wreck that some people want to make him out to be. He's not an elite passer. I understand that. But there's other elements to his game that are quite good. Was on a penalty kill in the playoffs. He didn't get scored on once. Played the second most minutes on the PK. It's not bad. So, you know what? And at 3.25, trust me, there would be teams that would easily take Cody Ceci for a draft pick and then probably hope that they can turn him into especially if you're a team that's not a playoff team, turn him into trading someone at the deadline because he's a pen and UFA. Doesn't have that high of a cap hit. Ryan McLeod can be frustrating at times, yes, for his lack of physical play, fair, but you have to look at all the other things he does well. He's an excellent transporter of the puck. He has great speed. I think he's shown that, you know, maybe he's just better as a winger than a center iceman. He wouldn't be the first guy, and he won't be the last. Maybe he's just better suited to play the wing. But the fact that he's versatile and can play both, and he's only $2.1 million cap hit, trust me, it would not be hard to trade Ryan McLeod. I'm not saying the Oilers want to. In fact, I don't think they do. But if they get into a cap squeeze, then that's what they'll do. Gregor, if Jackson says it's a hip, why did Kane say it's a sports hernia? Now, I think, you know, and we learned this from Grant, but sports hernia isn't what people think it is, right? A sports hernia is not an actual hernia. It's called athletic pubalgia, right? And basically, it can be it's the pubic joint or around the hip that lower abdomen, groin causes pain. So you can feel like it's your hip that hurts, but the pain can start and be emanating from somewhere else, right? Maybe Kane's like Struds. He took one course and thinks he's a doctor. But, you know, and the hip issue that Jackson said could be all related, right? It's the old adage, you know, the knee bone's connected to the hip bone, blah, blah. You know the song, right? Way you go. So everything's connected. But sports hernia is somewhat misleading because when you think of a hernia, you think of protruding, and that's not what they're talking about in this case. So it's an injury to a tendon or a muscle in your lower abdomen, groin that can extend in and around and can feel it's like your hips bugging you. And, you know, maybe it has some discomfort. Obviously, maybe it has a lack of stability. There's lots of different things. So could they be somewhat connected? Yes. That's why I said from day one, I always thought it was odd. I've never in the history of the game, and I've covered the game for 23 years, I've never had a player tell people what his injury was before the season, the playoffs began. Ever. It doesn't make any sense to me. I still don't get it. So, hey, Gregor, is there any concern Broberg or Holloway get an offer sheet? Well, I guess there's a chance. But let's look at the recent offer sheets. Sebastian Aho, who was a long-established player, and that was like the easiest match ever for the Carolina Hurricanes. Basically, Montreal just did their contract negotiation for them. Simple. Then Montreal did what you shouldn't do. They got offended. And then they decided, well, that was wrong what they did. So we're going to have two wrongs and it doesn't make a right. Because that Kotkaniemi deal, I said it the minute they signed it. Right? That offer sheet for 1 year of $6 million was a joke. And then it was even worse when they doubled down and signed him for 4.5. And everyone's like, oh, no, it's going to work out. Well, it's been 3 years. He hasn't come close to living up to that contract yet. Not close. Now, he's a NHL player, but he's not a $5 million player. What is he, 4.9, right? Or 4.8, whatever it is. Not that good. So I look at the chance of an offer sheet ridiculously low. Ridiculously low. Like, what offer sheet A would the player sign? Right? Because you got to remember, Holloway and Broberg would have to agree to sign it, first of all. Now, I guess if someone offered him $5 million, they're probably like, okay, we'll sign it. But why is a team going to do that? Right? Like Philip Broberg and Holloway, they look good in the playoffs, don't get me wrong. But Holloway in 89 regular season games has 6 goals. Right? Philip Broberg has, even less production now. They look good. They're older now. But I would be surprised if an offer sheet came. I'm not going to say there's 0% chance because there's always a chance, but I would think it's odd. Hey, Greg's, you're bang on. Hip impairment can cause the athletic pubalgia. Well, there you go. Thanks, Dr. Mike. Hey, that's why we get the guys on the show. Kind of feel like we know what we're talking about a little bit. Not always, but a little bit when it comes to that. So I don't know. Offer sheets are like the mythical creature that gets talked about every offseason. It happens once every few years, and then it keeps people talking about it, but it's highly unlikely. That's the way I view it. We'll take a quick break. Jimmy Howard is going to join us, and more. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one down, better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
0% for 60 months. I'm not kidding. Where? Wolf GMC Buick. And it's GMC's Adventure Calls event. Pick out a new 2024 Sierra with finance rates as low as 0% for up to 60 months. If you're a Costco member, you get another $1,200 off purchase price on any 2024 in-stock Sierra. We're talking half tons, 3/4 tons, even 1 tons. If you'd rather an SUV, we've got low lease payments and an awesome selection on GMC Terrain. So get in today and get your adventure on. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable, call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Edmonton is a great sports town. I've been there, I know. My name is Jason Smith. I host a late-night talk show here on Sports 1440. Join me and Mike Harmon tonight from 9 to midnight. There's always a ton of things to talk about, so tune in. Sports 1440.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and, frankly, a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Are you an expert in flat roofing or sheet metal fabrication and installation? Albatross Roofing and Construction wants to hire you. Candidates must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy excellent wages, benefits, and career progression. Submit your application at roofingalbatross.ca today.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
225. Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. How you doing? As always, it's presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And it's time now to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, a brand new league for young girls looking to continue their development. And now that there's a pro league, there's more opportunities, college, university, and even the PWHL for 12U and 14U. Want to get them head-to-head action? Check it out, the femalesuperleague.com. And joined in studio now by a gentleman who was a second-round pick of the Detroit Red Wings in 2003, went on to play over 500 and almost 550 NHL games as a goaltender. Jimmy Howard joins us. He's in town, of course, for the Brick tournament. Jimmy, how you doing?
Not bad. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, man, happy to have you here. It's now this is your first time at the tournament, right? And of course, you're with the Detroit Junior Red Wings. How has it gone? How's the tournament been for you so far?
It's been great. It's been coaching these kids. It's been awesome coaching these kids. We're as a coaching staff the other day, we were just joking around of how these, some of these kids and their hockey sense and their skill, and they're making plays out there where I'm like, I don't think we were doing that at 10 years old. Like these kids, and there's kids on every single team, that are just a lot of fun to watch.
Now, as a former goalie, and you see like the skill development, the things they try, how is it for like the young goalies now? And I'm assuming you have a real ability to see that position, but how has it changed if you go back to how you played and were taught a goalie position at 10 compared to now?
I mean, obviously the coaching out there is way better nowadays, right? There's, probably almost too many goalie coaches everywhere, no matter where you are. But what I see is just how athletic these kids are.
Okay.
And for the most part, the majority of them, of how they move in the crease already at 10 years old. And they basically look like little pros. It's amazing to me.
The butterfly style, just like when I think of hips and knees and stuff, like how taxing is it on it? What do you have to watch out for young goalies if they're not doing too much of it? Like, is that position maybe even more one where you have to hold back on them?
I think it just comes to, when you get into the technical world of goaltending, the VH, RVH sort of, argument. And it's just such an unnatural position for your hips. You're seeing a lot more kids nowadays. Well, I shouldn't say kids, teenagers that are, having to undergo like hip surgery and stuff like that. So it's, I think personally, like when they're this young, I don't like teaching them, any of that stuff. It's more, being an overlap, butterfly. But, I was the same age as they were when I learned it. So, knock on wood, I didn't really have too many, bad injuries.
No, I'm assuming though for goalies, like I'm as flexible as a crowbar. So maybe I'm the wrong guy to ask, but like flexibility has to be a key, right?
Flexibility, mobility, those are the things that, these kids need to work on, as they're going, because it is, such an unnatural, position of, dropping down to your knees, flaring them out and everything like that. So I always tell the kids, like, you should be working on your flexibility, but also your mobility of, doing, proper functional movements.
Okay. Jimmy Howard joins us. He's coach of the Detroit Junior Red Wings in town for the Brick tournament. And you've been coaching now. You retired in 2020. This is your second son. So you coach your oldest son. Yeah. Now you're on to your second one. How's it been for you? Like, what's been the biggest eye opener coaching young kids?
Honestly, just how skilled they are now at this younger age. Like when I first retired, I was, coaching my older son, and that's, how I got my feet wet into this. And, now, coaching my, Henry, my second oldest, it's just an eye opener how much these kids can retain at such a young age nowadays. It's fun. Like, do I still have to repeat myself 1,000 times to them? Absolutely. But it's fun when, you finally see the light bulb go off in their minds and they get it.
Having been in the NHL, playing at the highest level, where I'm assuming there's as much enjoyment as there's probably a lot of stress that goes on with it at times, especially for a goaltender. You talk to so many people, like just the mental aspect of that game. For you to go and coach now, has it, not that you maybe ever lost the love of the game, but is it different? Because how's the change over from being like in that high stress NHL to now, coaching young kids?
It's still stressful.
Yeah.
It's still stressful. Don't get me wrong there. It's still it's a different kind of stress though, right? More so just putting out fires. But I think just how I'm trying to figure out how to word this the right way, but it's I just want them to go out there and enjoy themselves, have fun.
Yeah.
Like this tournament, everyone that's involved, all the volunteers and everyone, all the sponsors, like they do a tremendous job. And to see the smiles on these kids' faces before they go out for warm-ups and they're chanting, their respective team names as they go out. You got the flags, it's kind of organized chaos, but it's so fun, and I just want them to enjoy it because not every single one of them is going to get the chance to play in the NHL.
No, the majority of them won't.
No, like as they get older, like that as they. Kids drop off, right? As you climb that mountain, like it gets to be a smaller and smaller world. Like for me, coaching, like what I want is to bump into one of these kids when they're 26, 27 years old, and they just be like, "Coach, guess what? I'm still playing."
Yeah.
And they're playing, men's league or something like that. So it's I just want to grow their love of the game now.
Now, your team is 5-0, 28 goals for, 10 goals against. Did you expect coming in that, did you know you had a good team? Did you expect to be this good?
We knew we were going to have a good team. I didn't think it was going to go like this so far. I thought there'd be, a couple of bumps in the road, but these boys have, responded so well this week and everything going on. And, I constantly telling them it's all white noise. It's all white noise, just focus. You guys know how to play this game. Just go out there and execute it.
It is fun because we had James Hamlin from the Oilers in studio yesterday, and he was actually on the last Team Brick who won back in 2009. And, he talked about now he's in the NHL, but for 10-year-olds at this moment, this is like their Stanley Cup. It's one of the big things, right?
Yeah.
Like they're so jazzed up, but at the same time, some people get a little bit too excited about it. How do you as a coach have to approach to try to keep the kids calm? And maybe as a coach myself, sometimes the parents.
I mean, honestly, the kids themselves, they do a good job, right? They know what they're here to do. They know they're here to, play hockey and represent the city of Detroit and the Detroit Red Wings organization. And so far they've done a remarkable job. And was saying that, I think it doesn't help to bribe them with ice cream too after every night.
Yeah, not bad. Now, how being part of the Detroit Red Wings organization, I know they sponsor, but how closely are you still to the NHL game? Do you watch a lot, or I'm assuming your kids are pretty diehards?
I mean, we watch so much hockey in our house. It's ridiculous. It's always on, right? The first thing in the morning, my boys, they want the NHL Network on and everything like that. But I still fill in every once in a while for Bally Sports, doing the in-game analysis stuff. So that's been fun. It's helped keep me, I guess, in the game, because it's such being in the NHL and being in that fraternity for so long, like when you're out, you're out, you got to try to find your own way again. So it's it was when they offered me a position to come on, I was like, absolutely, like this, could be so much fun.
Well, you get to stay close to the game, right? You get to watch the game. You're still interviewing the players. You kind of get a sense of it. And, and that organization, they've been waiting. Like it's cyclical in hockey sometimes. No one probably wanted the cycle to be this long to be out of it. And you look at the East now with the Red Wings and Ottawa and Buffalo, and then the teams that were in it. How how do you look at that team, like a guy like Mo Sider? I want to get your thoughts on Mo Sider, who, Edmonton fans don't get to see him a lot out here, but man, like every time, like anybody who watches him knows how good he is. What impresses you the most about his game?
What impresses me the most about him is how much of a competitor he is. So I was fortunate enough, I guess if you look at it whatever way you want, I got injured and I had to go down and do a conditioning stint. He was down there. And he was, really young at the time, 18 years old, and just his work mentality but he still knows it's a game, even at a young age.
Okay.
Like he's having fun with it. But man, that guy just loves to go out day in and day out and just compete.
And then another young player who's scored some huge goals for them last year, Lucas Raymond. Again, I know needs a big contract. They brought Kane back. Like when you look at the Red Wings, do you feel they're ready? Because it's easy to go from 32nd to 18th.
Yeah.
Now it's hard to get into the playoffs, and then even harder to go into the top of the division. How do you see the progression?
This league, like watching games now and watching them live, I'm like, I can't believe I played in this league. This isn't like that's not the league that I played in, right? I mean, what these players are doing nowadays at such a younger age, and how fast they are and how this game is moving is just it's remarkable. But just the skill set of Lucas Raymond, like he's such a smart hockey player. He knows how to escape, he knows how to find lanes and get in those passing lanes. And he scores a ton of big goals for the Wings, especially down the stretch when they were trying to get into the playoffs. Like he was huge for them.
Yeah, he was huge for them. So that the Eastern Conference this year, it was tight last year. I think somehow it's going to get even tighter. Like, maybe Tampa Bay is going to slide down a bit to the pack, and Toronto even, we'll see. Boston, who knows what happens. But you look at, I want to get to your thoughts on the goaltending position. It's, as a guy who played like 555 games as an NHL, man, that's a long career, right? For skaters, never mind a goaltender.
Yeah.
And just to stay engaged, and you look at the position, and it seems it's the one position that's more volatile. You can be a really good goalie one year, and then the next year, for whatever reason, you're not, and then it goes back up. Why is that? What makes it so hard?
I think because the game's, constantly evolving, right? Like each year their teams adapt.
Okay.
And they learn, and there's so much video done nowadays, just like when I was playing, like if you're not evolving as a goalie and learning and working on your weaknesses, that's when you kind of fall behind.
Do you think the fact that these players, because for a lot of years there was goalie coaches, there wasn't really skill coaches, but now there's skill coaches.
They're
right?
everywhere.
And you see shooters, goalie goes down the butterfly now. There's 2 inches and the players are hitting it constantly.
Yeah, I mean,
how's the goalie position going to counter that, do you think? Or can you?
I mean, the funny part about it is like I remember doing, goalie skates with a group of goalies, and Joe Pavelski's skills coach would be there watching what we're working on. It's like, come on, okay, cut us some slack here. Joe's going to be able to score on us just fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, he had one hell of a career, but I think it's just that workman like mentality that everyone has now. And it's, you have to adjust or you die.
Yeah. Now I want to go back to the tournament because tomorrow morning, I think it's 9:15. There's the big matchup. You and the Toronto Bulldogs. You guys are both 5-0. As a coach, because the young kids nowadays, man, they probably know all the statistics, right? They're looking at all the stats. They know everything. You want them to be super excited. And it is, as you said earlier, it's just a game, but it's a fairly big game for some young kids. What's the approach as a coach to make sure that they're calm, but having fun? How do you balance that?
It's a great question. So far, I think, knock on wood, we've been hitting all the right buttons with them, but just, letting them be kids, letting them be, 10-year-old little boys. Today the moms are going to take them and, go have some fun. Like
Galaxy Land, maybe.
Excuse me. But, we've been trying to do stuff with them all week to try to get their minds off the game, like taking them outside of the park. After being in the mall for 4 days, it was like, we got to get out and get some fresh air. So like yesterday, take them to the park, let them be boys, wiffle ball, frisbee, play around on the play structure, taking them mini golfing and stuff like that inside the mall here. And today they get another opportunity to do something after tomorrow's game, that we're going to take them to the movie theater. So I think just trying to get their minds off of it. So when, we start our walk from Fantasyland to the rink, that's when they know they got to get their minds engaged.
Okay. Where do you stand, Jimmy, on, because there was a sense for a while, and I've talked to Brent Sutter and a lot of other guys, that they want athletes. They don't just want one sport players now. How do you ensure that kids are, like James was, I played football. Like eventually you got to choose.
Yeah.
But you don't need to choose at 10, right?
No.
How do you make sure you balance that? And do you notice a difference in the guy and the athletes to just the hockey players?
I actually push my parents to go play other sports, especially in the springtime. Like we had kids, missing for lacrosse, missing for baseball, missing for soccer. And that's fine. They need to be out, because we want athletes. We want these boys to be little athletes. I don't want little soldiers out on the ice, right? Like, and when they play other sports, like both my boys, older boys, play lacrosse. Like you can find ways. Like I love watching it because it's physical, right? Lacrosse, that is, and so is hockey. So you can find as a coach and as a parent how each sport intertwines.
Well, I think with lacrosse, the biggest thing is the kids learn contact at a younger age and then how to spin off of it.
Yeah.
Or if you're a defender, how to defend it. You really got to move your feet in lacrosse.
You have to move your feet.
Yeah.
Right. And like a big thing, like just like in hockey and lacrosse, communication.
Yeah.
They got to communicate on the ice. They got to communicate out on the field. It's a little bit, I like to call it a little bit of mix of basketball and hockey.
Yeah. Jimmy, thanks so much for coming in. Enjoy the day off and enjoy. Well, I hear that you guys, when the tournament's over, that's when the kids get to go to the water park.
They get to go. Yeah.
You got to go, buddy. You got his coach, the screamer. I like going with my son because to me, I still get to be a kid at the water park. And like they got the, they're not just some slow rides. Like there's legit ones, the Sky Screamer and Cyclone. You'll love
I'm sure they're going to be all over.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us, man. Best of luck in the tournament.
Thank you.
That's Jimmy Howard. He is a coach of the Detroit Junior Red Wings here in the Brick Tournament. Them and the Bulldogs. You're looking for a big game tomorrow morning, 9:15 here at the Ice Palace. Check it out. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions assembled.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
Edmonton Stingers basketball face the Vancouver Bandits Friday, July 5th at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Think of us as the opening act for Kevin Carius. This is Jonas Knox from Fox Sports. Join me, Brady Quinn, and LeVar Arrington weekday mornings from 4 to 7. It's two pros and a cup of Joe right here on Sports 1440.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Enio and Jason are friends.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy? Except when they talk hockey.
Edmonton had all those first overall picks, and they still can't win.
Yeah, but we still beat you. Battle of Alberta champs, baby.
But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wheelhawk beef jerky.
It might be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wheelhawk beef jerky today in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Yeah. You know what? I like to play. No diggity, no doubt.
.247. Gregor, I love it when you get guys on, especially coaches, telling the parents to have their kids play more sports. I think it's important. Some parents, I sometimes feel the pressure that they can't play other sports. So any coach who tells you or your child, your son or your daughter, that they're not committed to the team, like I can see if you're playing, AAA U15. Right now, that's a stage. Like if you're AAA U15, you're like, okay, you know what? You're a pretty good player. And just timeline and everything else, that's when you might have to make a decision. I understand it. But up until that point, I don't care. There is any coach in U13, U11, who tells you that your child's not committed and you're not committed, you should politely say you need to reevaluate your assessment here. Like, come on. Playing other sports helps. This has been proven scientifically. It's not an opinion. It's like science-based fact. Not to mention the mental side of it, where you get away from a game and when you love it and you get to come back and play again, you're just fired up. That's healthy. It's very healthy. So yeah, it's always I always like hearing that. It's nice. We talk about it lots, and I do think there's more and more people who realize that that it is a good thing. I think they're kind of got for an early sense there. It's like, oh no, we gotta be focusing, and you're gonna, like, I always hear, well, they're gonna fall behind. Yeah, but hockey's a late developing sport. So if you're falling behind at 10, are you really falling behind? Right? We had James Hamlin here. Right? He got cut from his now it's U13 team. Go through tons of how many guys didn't get drafted in the WHL. Went on Jerome McGinley. I can go through the names of lot. Look at Colton Parayko. He never even played AAA midget. Never once. Ends up in the NHL. Playing 20-plus minutes a night when they win the Stanley Cup. Pretty good player. And there's lots of other guys like that. So I would never, if you get too focused on keeping up with others, because some kids at 10, they're going to be the best player in the team. Doesn't mean they're the best player at 16 or 17. Because there's so much that goes into it. First of all of a sudden, you hit puberty. That changes it. Some kids get bigger. Some kids get stronger. Some kids don't really grow. Some kids, all of a sudden, their priorities change on what they're interested in. So no one really knows. So I would always say, just enjoy it. Don't get too wrapped up in where you're at 10. Are they trying their best and are they having fun? If those two things are happening, To me, that's a success in any sport at a young age. And really to any age. Are you having fun? Are you giving it your best? If you can do that, then you know what? The skill stuff, sure, you can work on it and do other things, but ultimately, the kids who make it have to have like almost an unhealthy, almost passion and desire about the game. Just have to. Hey guys, I've watched that Detroit team. That number 49's heck of a player. That's yeah. Well, I watched one period of the Detroit game, and they had two kids, 42 and 49, and and that was the Detroit game I watched. Yeah, they're pretty special. 10 years old nowadays. There's lots of kids that they're shifty, they're dynamic. It's pretty fun to watch, no question. Now let's get to our basketball report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home to no payments, no interest for 1 full year on your AC unit. It's getting hot. Don't wait till you got SWAS. Get it now at legacyheating.ca. Hey, speaking of exciting to watch, what about the Stingers? Got a record happening from their point guard, the most threes in a game. Doug McLean joins us, voice of the Stingers. And Doug, the Stingers, they came in, they said they were going to be a better shooting team. And you know what? They're really starting to see that here the last few weeks.
Yeah, you really are, Jason. And you talk about Elijah Miller. I mean, it's a great story. He's a U Sports kid, played at UPEI, and he's come in and has created a role for himself. I mean, he's playing 25, 28 minutes a night for this team. Yep. So that's great as it is as a point guard. But if you're putting up 10 of 12 setting CEBL records from the 3-point line, hey, you're that shooting point guard that teams love to have a little bit too. So yeah, they're a much better shooting team this year for sure. And Elijah Miller's just been one really good example of that.
One oddity, the Stingers are 9-4. They're 6-1 on the road. They haven't dominated at home floor yet at 3-3. Is it just, scheduling who they're playing, or are you seeing something different from their home squad to their road squad?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I'm sure Jordan Baker's asking himself the same question a little bit. You know what? Yeah, they face some tough competition here. We saw Calgary in here last week. Really good team that's come on here as the season's gone on. Saw Saskatchewan earlier in the season. This will be the second time the Vancouver Bandits are in. Those are the two best teams in the league right now. So I think competition's part of it. I think for the Stingers, though, and look, you've talked about this in hockey before, where teams on home ice, they try to put on a bit of a show. And I'm not sure that's exactly what's happening with the Stingers, but there's a little bit of that. I think they're a team that starts to rely a little bit too heavily on the three-point shot. This is a much better team when they're north-south, when they're going to the rim, they're getting the ball inside, they're pushing the pace. And I find we've seen this season where they've had games early where they've gotten out to big leads and they let them evaporate. They start to sit back. We've seen situations against Calgary last week where they're down 14-2 halfway through the first quarter and then ground their way back into the game, but then they dropped off in the second half. So it's a team that has struggled to find consistency through 40 minutes here on home court. But again, the pieces are there. I think having the great road record they have is such a huge bonus. Now, I think if they can just settle down on home court, play a little more steadily from opening tip to the buzzer, I think they'll be in a pretty good spot heading into the playoffs.
And now they start a 3-game homestand. They're home tomorrow night against Vancouver. That's a first-place battle, the 9-4 Stingers against the 9-3 Bandits. Then they have Brampton in on Sunday and Calgary in on Tuesday. So a rare, 3 games in 5 days, which is good. They have a deep bench, so I don't think fatigue will be a factor at all for them. But you look at that matchup tomorrow night against Vancouver. For any fan who's maybe on the fence, that's the game I think you want to go to the top teams in the league. What's the biggest threat or the best element of Vancouver's game?
Well, they're a team that's a little more top heavy. So unlike the Stingers will run their bench. They don't have, I'm just doing my prep here right now. I think they've got nobody at or over 30 minutes a game. The Bandits, I think, are 4 players over 30 minutes a game. So they'll run their big guys a little bit more than the Stingers will. So that's one difference. You've got the likes of Tajay Moore, played 4 games with the Portland Trailblazers this past season. He's almost averaging a triple-double. He had a triple-double last week. He's almost averaging that right now for the Bandits. But I think the big player, to me, might be the most valuable player in the league. Not the most outstanding, but the most valuable is Nick Ward. Nick Ward, big man in the middle, really agile, great footwork, great touch around the rim. I mean, this is a guy, he's second only to some guy named Magic Johnson for most points as a freshman at Michigan State. So that gives you a sense of the pedigree of who this guy is. And when he gets going, he's very tough to stop. The challenge for Nick Ward is he's very fiery. We saw him last season, picked up 2 technicals really quickly, got tossed out. you can get under his skin a little bit, Stingers have some players that can do that. You can get Nick Ward off his game, but if he's just going, he's a big body, and as with all respect to Brody Clark and Ben Cricky, that's a really tough matchup for them inside. So look for Nick Ward and Tajay Moore, among others, but those are two key players to watch for the Bandits.
Look into the Stingers, and Elijah Moore was red hot, like 10 of 12. Draining 10 is one thing, but draining 10 out of 12 is ridiculously good. And like, are they going to use him more? Because you look at the two guys in Michael Nuga and Damian Warren, those guys have kind of struggled from 3-point range, 15 out of 52 for Warren. He's only 28%. And then Nuga's only 32%, 18 out of 56. So are they going to keep letting those guys shoot as much? Or do you think there might be a change and Miller's going to be, launching a few more threes? Because he's a 45% shooter from 3-point range.
Yep. Yeah, he is. And even Trey McGowan, so they brought in a couple weeks ago, he wasn't known as a big offensive guy, but he's come in and shot the ball really well for them too. Yeah, I think you're going to see Miller again. Miller as a point guard, you got to find that balance as a point guard. You can't be the guy who's hoarding the ball, taking extra shots. You got to find your own way into the game, but your job also is to get your teammates into the game. So that'll be the balance for Elijah Miller in that role. But I think as far as a guy like Michael Nuga, personally, I mean, he's a good shooter, but his game, he's at his best when he's pushing the pace and again, getting to the rim, attacking inside. He's been a huge energy lift for the Stingers coming off the bench. I think sometimes it's not just a Michael Nuga issue. I think sometimes, as I said earlier, they get sucked into becoming a 3-point shooting team. And I think that they're not really built to be that. And so again, when they're a team that gets inside the paint, that starts to attack, Nuga being an example, Davian Warren being another great example, those two guys, I think they're better players. I think that makes the team better. So to your question about who are the shooters, yeah, those are guys you'll still rely on. But again, I think they're a better team when the 3-point shot comes through their offense. It doesn't become the focal point of what they're trying to do.
And Nick Hornsby, he's played the most minutes on the team by a fair margin. Doug, is how's his season gone? You liked his play overall, and why is he getting so many more minutes than anybody else?
You know what? Nick Hornsby is a guy who's going to be, you're going to look at his numbers and you might say, okay, that's, good. He's good complimentary player for them. He's a bit of a jack of all trades. To be honest, he's kind of filling a bit of the role that Jordan Baker had when he was playing for the Stingers. Hornsby, a really good rebounder, excellent passer, not going to score maybe as much as Baker did, but really good defensive player too. So he can do a lot of things for you. You can put him in a lot of situations where he can be really valuable to you. Leads the team right now in rebounds, leads them in assists. So a guy that can do lots of different things for you. So, and he's a leader. You can just tell on the floor. I mean, he's been here, he's a veteran, played here last year. So I think that having him on the floor gives Jordan Baker a bit of that coach on the floor mentality. So I think you're going to see big minutes from him, even if his point numbers aren't going to be massive in relation to other players on the roster. He does so many things that he's a pretty integral part of this Stinger roster.
Doug McLean joins us, voice of the Stingers. They're in action tomorrow night, first place battle as Vancouver comes to town. So Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, if you're looking to get out to watch the Stingers, you can. Doug, Ben Cricky in his first year coming home after a very successful NCAA career. The numbers, they look pretty good. How has he fared on a game-to-game basis, and what have you liked about his game?
Yeah, Ben Cricky, I mean, he's just a basketball player. I mean, I know that's a bit of a cliche phrase, but he's a guy that you can tell he loves the game. He's got great skill for a big man, and I think he's adapted to the pro game pretty well. He's starting to figure out where his strengths align. So we've seen him even in the last couple of weeks, that mid-range jump shot, which he's had throughout his career, but he's starting to see, oh, hey, I can use that here. I can stretch. I can pull big men defending me out, make them a little bit uncomfortable. But I think he's starting to realize that he can be a presence both offensively and defensively around the paint. He doesn't have to shy away from that. Not to suggest that early in the season he was, but I think he's starting to figure that part of the game out a little bit as well. So between him and Brody Clark, it's a good mix. They have similar skill sets to some degree, but differing skill sets. So I think it allows Jordan Baker some options he can throw at teams when he has them each on the floor. But no, I think Ben Cricky, I mean, hey, he's just an extremely skilled player, and no surprise at all that he stepped into the program and has been very effective for Edmonton.
Doug, I know you're a big basketball guy, so I want to ask you, the men's Olympic team, they got a game coming up against the U.S., Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you got Murray in the backcourt. What do you make of that squad? How excited are you to see kind of how they match up?
Yeah, I am really excited. I'm actually fortunate. I'm going to be in Paris, and I'm going to likely see them. I think they're playing Australia is the one game I'm going to get to see them play. So I'm looking forward to that. But You know what? I'm old enough that I can remember back when Edmonton hosted the World University Games in 1983, and we won the gold medal over the Yugoslavian team, beat the Americans in the semis with Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Johnny Dawkins, among others. And you start to see this evolution of this Canadian program. We get to this point now with the players that you mentioned, and Kelly Olynyk, and we can go on and on.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun. The American team's a lot older. Who knows how? Does veteran savvy play enough, to allow them to be the dominant team as they've been so many times for the last more than half century? Canada's exciting. With Gilgeous-Alexander and Murray, you've got two dynamic NBA scorers. Yes. So you can drop them into any game, and they might be the best scorers on the floor against the majority of opponents they're going to face. When you have that, and you've got the depth they have around them, I heard you yesterday talking to Paul, and you mentioned Lou Dort, great defensive player. Oh. So you've got balance there too, right? And so, yeah, it's really exciting. And both for both the men and the women, I think we've got two really good teams. And again, it just shows such great progression of the sport in this country, and to see them both on the central stage of the Olympics coming up in a month, it's very exciting.
Doug, great rundown, man. I really appreciate it. Enjoy 3 games in 5 days, and I think I'll be coming out to the Sunday game. My son's been bugging me, so finally with the playoffs, so we got a little bit more time. So I think I'm coming out on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. It's always fun to check out the Stingers games. They're highly entertaining.
Yeah, it's a great product. It's entertaining, but again, the product on the floor is fantastic. So yeah, pop by and say hi, Jason, if your son gets you out there.
Yeah, you betcha, Doug. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks, Jason. You too.
There you go. That's Doug McLean, the voice of the Stingers. And if you haven't been there, trust me, it's great value for your buck. It's also really good basketball. Every seat in the house, you're close, which I like. It's nice. So you got the Stingers in action. Hey, there's no one else in town, right? The bye week for the Elks. Riverhawks are on the road. So get in there. Should be fun. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by High Street Insurance. 10 years in the business. Started in Edmonton. They've expanded across the country, but Edmonton's the main office. Why? Because they love Edmonton. And if you want insurance, it's going to help your business. Any form that you have, check it out, highstreetinsurance.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Week 5 in the CFL kicks off today with the Boatmen in Saskatchewan taking on the Riders. That'll get going just after 7 o'clock. Some other news from the CFL. An arbitrator has reinstated the CFL's indefinite suspension of Alouettes defensive lineman Sean Lemon for gambling on sports. The CFL said in a statement that Lemon will remain suspended until after an arbitration hearing, which has been rescheduled for August 1st and 2nd. Dave Cameron will be back behind the bench for Canada at the 2025 World Junior Hockey Championships. Cameron, head of the OHL's Ottawa 67s, was the head coach of the team that won the junior title back in 2022. Also an assistant on the 2009 squad that won gold. And the Golden State Warriors are acquiring 31-year-old swingman in a signing trade from the Philadelphia 76ers, Buddy Hield. He was originally taken with a 6th overall selection out of Oklahoma back in 2016. Got 632 games played in 8 seasons with the Sixers, Pacers, Kings, and Pelicans. Major League Baseball, Jays falling today to the Houston Astros 5-3 in Toronto. It was a busy day as it is Independence Day. The Red Sox over the Marlins 6-5. Guardians double up the White Sox 8-4. Twins beat up on the Tigers 12-3. Cubs do the same to Phillies 10-2. Cards get past the Pirates 3-2, and as the Nationals over the Mets 1-0 right now. 3 games going on. Padres lead the Rangers 3-1. Athletics up on the Angels 3-0, and the Mariners trail the Orioles 2-0 in the third. Later tonight, Giants, Braves, Rockies, Brewers, Rays in Kansas City, and the Dodgers taking on the Diamondbacks. Today at Copa America, you got Ecuador taking on Argentina from Energy Stadium down in Houston. That one starts at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Euro returns Germany, Spain at 10 a.m., and Portugal takes on France at 1 p.m. And the WNBA tonight, the Lynx host the Sun. You got the Mystics heading to Vegas to take on the Aces just after 8. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Sean Campbell of TSN 690 Montreal, and Colin Livingston will join us as we speed things up in the Cantork Racing Report. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical Project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce.
Gold medal over the...
Bacon. We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions, 2 ounce pickles, not one down, better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com. Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza.
Your son gets you out there.
The Bricks Appliance Super Sale is here. Check out amazing deals on all major appliances, like chest freezer starting at just $199 and washer and dryer packages for under $1,500. Shop incredible deals in other departments, like up to $920 off sofas and sectionals. Plus, from July 5th to 8th only, get specialty prices like mattresses starting at just $149 and buy more, save more, up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Elevate your drive with spectacular savings at Windermere Chrysler. Get 10% off the rugged 2024 Ram 1500, the luxurious Grand Cherokee, or the versatile Durango. Thinking bigger? Opt for a heavy-duty truck and enjoy a no-charge diesel upgrade. Or take advantage of no payments for 90 days on select 2024s. Visit us today and explore these offers in our breathtaking new showroom.
The choice is clear.
It's Windermere.
Visit windermeredodge.ca.
Just after 3 o'clock. How are you? Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Live. Sports1440.ca. Also on Twitter and Instagram. Wherever you're watching, listening, we very much appreciate it. There was many of you that said, are you serious that McDavid's already at 1,000 points? Yeah, he's at 982. He will get to 1,000 this coming season, probably in the month of October. 18 points for McDavid. 10, 11 games, I would think. 11 games is 1.63 points per game. And if he does it in 11 games, he'll tie Bossy for third quickest in NHL history. If he does it in 10, he will be on his own third fastest at 655 games. Now, Lemieux did it 513, Gretzky 424. And I think Gretzky's second time from 1001 to 2000 was 471 games or 69. I got to look at that one up. I know the 424. Imagine that, 1,000 points in 424 games. Like, it's so ridiculous when you think about it. And please don't just say it was the 80s, because everybody else played in the 80s and none of them came close. Right? Even Lemieux, 424 to 513. That's a pretty big gap. Pretty big. Hey, guys, do you think the Oilers will hire Stan Bowman as the next GM? I honestly don't know. As I wrote today at OilersNation.com, I don't see why. I think what kind of got overlooked in that whole Aldrich case was the fact that a second player this past November filed a lawsuit alleging that gross negligence from the Red Wings, that he said that Aldrich was sexually assaulted him and they didn't do anything. Now, that's what he's saying. I have no proof of it, but I know some people say, well, why did it take so long to come out? All you have to do is talk to anybody who's a victim of sexual assault. You feel dirty. You blame yourself, even though you shouldn't. You did nothing wrong. And, sometimes it takes a lot of years. And, this player's still playing, actually, or was last year. And, when the beach thing came out, sometimes when you see someone else do it, you're like, you know what? Gives you a little bit of encouragement and some strength to want to do it. So I never question anybody as to why. There's a time, well, why didn't you do it right? Usually people who haven't been assaulted, that's their reaction. Because honestly, you don't know. I've never been assaulted. I don't know. But I have people very close in my life who have, and I've had lots of conversations about it, and I can understand it. I can have empathy to understand why somebody didn't do it. Or didn't do it at the right, there's no right time. Like, stop blaming the person who got sexually abused. Blame the pieces of dung who do it. Like, that's what the focus should be on. Right? Like, Brad Aldrich, he gets talked about less, and he was the abuser. He's the pedophile because he went to jail, okay, for 9 months, pled guilty. Okay? He's a sexual abuser. He's a pedophile. He did to a high school kid on the team that he was a volunteer coach for. And then you look at it, and if you don't think society as a whole, even after he went to jail, he still got a job later on. And guess what his job was? Working with young adolescent boys. Are you kidding me? So don't, you can be mad at Bowman and the Blackhawks and everything because it's easy. But take a step back. Hey, Stan Bowman was a first-year GM. Could he handle it better? 100%. Did he know how to handle it? Obviously not. And I don't really know to what full extent, they outline the detail. Like how did Beach present it? In what form? I don't know the answer to that. And now Kyle Beach himself, right, went out and said that, he thinks, Joel Quenneville should coach again. So he's obviously forgiven him. So if he has, I don't want to, say, well, I could never do it. But I would say this about Bowman. I would look at it from an Edmonton perspective where they have the GM who comes in. Obviously, there's going to be some tough decisions along the way, but not right away. This team is set up very well. So why do you need some grizzled veteran GM? Jeff Jackson, their management team, like, you could promote from within. Keith Gretzky, Brad Holland, if you wanted. Bill Scott. Or, you know what? You can look at guys, Sean Horkoff, Matthew Darch, right? There's other guys around the league who have been learning that position for a long time. So to me, from an order perspective, I don't see why it's necessary that his first gig back in the NHL, like right now, if you had to rank GM jobs in the league, would one rank as a better position right now today than the Edmonton Oilers GM? I can't see how. Right? And compare the roster today that this new GM will inherit to the roster that Ken Holland inherited. It is night and day. Not only did Ken Holland had to build a team to surround his best players, he also kind of had to rebuild the professionalism inside the organization. Because trust me, it wasn't good. There's lots of things. Ken Holland treats people with respect, first off. Right? He also made a lot of good moves. He's the first one to admit, hey, Jack Campbell didn't work out. First one to admit it. Right? They needed to bring in a goalie. They thought he was the guy. Turned out wrong. It's easy in hindsight to say it. And even at the time, it's easy to disagree. That's fine. And like I said, it's more the term that crushes you in free agency than it rarely is the dollars. Because think about it. If Jack Campbell had 1 year remaining on his deal right now, you buy him out, it's only 2 years. It's just everything's way easier. Right? Term is what, where GMs go to die. And it happens every year in free agency. But he made a lot of really good moves and got him to one game, one shot from going to overtime in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. You literally can't get closer than that. Right? You can't. How closer can you get than losing by 1 goal in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final? You can't. So I thought he did a really good job. And now the new GM comes in. He's not in nearly a tough spot as that. Doesn't mean it's easy. No job is easy at the NHL level. But that's a pretty damn attractive job. And you've got a CEO of hockey operations and Jeff Jackson and a management team who look like they know what they're doing, right? Jackson was the one who really spearheaded bringing in Knobloch and Coffey, and that decisions look great. We just saw what they did in free agency. It helps when you now have a good team that Ken Holland had a major role in help building, and now players want to be here. Shocking how that works. I still think Edmonton's geography hasn't changed. In the last, we suddenly didn't get closer to the United States. We suddenly didn't get warmer in the winter. But geez, players want to stay here. What has changed? Well, that's right. The record. Right? They got that Connor McDavid kid, Leon Draisaitl, not bad. And here's the Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers last year, as a team, scored the most goals in the salary cap era at 5-on-5 as an organization, 193. Only 9 teams have ever scored 200 goals in the salary cap era. Really, in the 2000s. Only 9 teams. And the Oilers scored 193, and Connor McDavid had his lowest goals per game rate, 5-on-5, of his career, any season. Second lowest total goals, because he had 12 as a rookie, and he missed 37 games that year. He was on pace for 22 goals as a rookie. 5-on-5. Think McDavid's going to score more goals next year? Yeah. Think Leon Draisaitl is going to score more than 15 goals 5-on-5? Yeah. So they've improved the players around him. Despite what some of them, there's still a few people that'll say it. It's stunning to me, but you can't fix stupid. Sometimes you just got to, it's the old advantage. If you argue with someone who's not that bright, they'll beat you with experience. So sometimes you just have to be like, okay, move on. Thank you very much. But I wouldn't bring in Bowman if it's me. I don't see the benefit. I'm not saying he hasn't learned from it. I'm not even saying he doesn't deserve a second chance, but he doesn't deserve the best chance at all. I wouldn't do it. Hey guys, I noticed that Broberg and Holloway's qualifying offer is $875K. Do you think either one would sign it? Good question, Mike. My gut is no. Now, they don't have much negotiating power. They don't have any arbitration. Neither one of them has really good NHL numbers to this point. Right? Good playoffs for sure. I think everybody out there sees the potential. And it doesn't mean that you don't believe in them because you don't sign him to a long-term deal right now. It's simply salary cap related. They don't have the money to do it. And you don't really have the need to do it right now. Like, I don't know how productive of a player Dylan Holloway is going to be. So wait, he's only played 89 regular season games. I have no idea. They just brought in Skinner and Arvidsson. So there's a chance he's a bottom 6 player, and there's nothing wrong with that. He might end up being a top 6 guy by the end of the year. I have no idea. Could he get 30, 35, maybe 40 points? Possibly. Awesome if he does, especially because he's not going to be on the power play. So good for him. Like, that would be a huge season. Huge. Like, Warren Fogle had a really good year. He set career highs. 21 goals, 21 assists, 42 points. He had 17 goals, 5-on-5. Now, he got to play some time with Draisaitl, a little bit with McDavid, but still a majority of his time was away from them. And I think Holloway's probably going to be the same. I don't know if he can score 21, man. That's pretty hard to do. So, you know what? Maybe they negotiate. Maybe it's 9.25. They don't have much negotiating power here. And once the offer sheet window closes, which I don't even think it's really open. Yeah, I think ultimately they both sign, and it won't be I don't think it's going to be a real difficult negotiation. It's just the business side of it. It's like, hey, sorry, man. Like, remember Ryan McLeod a few years ago when the Oilers were right up against it in the cap? And what did he signed that weird number? Was it like $794,000 or something? Because that's exactly what they had to get them right to the ceiling, and then they could put LTIR, right? So they maximized their LTIR, but they had no more money. They couldn't give him any more than that. I think it was 794. Something like that.
798.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Sorry, I don't want to shortchange him 4K.
No.
Yeah, it was bang on 798. So, yeah, we'll see. Hey guys, I think it's because it's a situation with two men. Society looks on it differently. If it's a woman or a girl, the abuse seems more real to them if it's two men, which isn't right, regardless. From JT. Yeah, I don't know. You probably could be right to some sense. I think it's very uncomfortable for men to acknowledge and accept that a man could be a victim of sexual abuse, right? Because your machismo is like, well, just fight him off. It's not always how it works, man. Like when you read stories on sexual abuse survivors that are men, and there's way more of them than anyone wants to talk about. Way more. It comes, they get groomed. It comes from a family member, comes from someone in a position of power. There's threats. There's lots of things that go on. Right? Somebody who's vulnerable maybe comes from a broken home. They don't have a lot of support systems, so they don't necessarily have a lot of internal confidence. Lots of different things at play here. So, to me, it's because I have a son. I really in society as a whole, I think the pendulum has swung a little bit. I'm all for equality, 100%, and I would love equality for men and women. And you can read The Boy Crisis. I've talked about it many times on the show. There's lots of data in there. Talk about, you know what? No one really mentions that suicide rates for young boys is 5 times more than girls. 6 times more from the age of 20 to 24. It's never talked about. Why? It is changing. It's getting better. I think it's really uncomfortable, really, at the end of the day, for a lot of men to have a conversation about a man or a boy being sexually abused. It's really uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for men and women to talk about girls too. Don't get me wrong. But it's one that needs to be addressed and discussed, not by yelling and screaming and name calling. That solves nothing. But you need to be aware of it. And now Bowman didn't do any of it. I want to make that abundantly clear. And so Aldrich is the human dung here. Okay. And he was the one who preyed on people. Full stop. Now, that doesn't excuse everything that Bowman and them did, but I can't put somebody in the same position as the actual abuser. I can't do it. Especially when you don't know exactly how much detail they were given. I don't know. You want them to react better? Didn't happen. And the worst part was, like, we can say Chicago, but if you read this story about Brad Aldrich, he actually ended up at the University of Miami 2 years after the fact. And while he was there, he had 2 separate accusations against him. And that university said nothing, did nothing. Nothing came of it. Then he went to the high school and back in his home state. And that's where he got charged, actually went to jail for 9 months. Like, this guy is a serial predator. And I think as society as a whole, rather than getting mad at everybody who didn't do the perfect right thing and how they handled it, we all need to say, okay, you know what? Well, if we're in that situation, what would you do? It's no different than in minor sports, how you have a coach who abuses their power, men or women, and people sit by and say nothing but, well, geez, I don't want my son or daughter to potentially lose playing time. Now, it's not nearly as bad as sexual abuse, but we allow that behavior to go on because we're too worried about this. Well, I'm going to get blackballed. By who? Honestly. Look at society today. Society today is more accepting and forgiving than ever. Ever. You listen to people who were abusing that when they finally spoke out, they're like, oh, I didn't expect the reaction to be so positive, because you still convince yourself that it's going to be worse. So it's easy to yell at others, say they should have spoke up, when a lot of us, you never really know how you're going to react until you're in the moment. And it's never as easy as you think. So that doesn't excuse what they did. It's why I wrote, I don't think it's worthwhile hiring Stan Bowman for the Edmonton Oilers. Take a quick break. We got a lot of text flying in, 833-401-1440 in our inbox, your partner in power since 1976, helping out Albertans with all their electrical needs, ewel.ca.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks want you to proudly embrace that Albertan country vibe at Country Night this Saturday, July 6th. Enjoy a petting zoo, live music, line dancing, tractors, and more. Get your ticket to fun and watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
Albatross Roofing and Construction has immediate job openings for skilled flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers. If you have SBS modified bitumen experience and CSTS certification, they want you. Get a great wage, benefits, steady work, and upward growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca today.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today. What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds. Recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Something shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. It's not raining. Everybody's in the light. And don't you know it's a beautiful day? Hey. Running down the avenue, 3 hours sunshine. And on the streets where once was red, with your blue sky living in the night. Hey!
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and you only have limited time. Okay, 10 days left for you to try the strawberry cheesecake McFlurry, made with real strawberry pieces mixed with cheesecake or chunks of cheesecake flavored cookie dough. Yummy. Right now, only at McDonald's, as we are joined by Sean Campbell from TSN 690 in Montreal. And Sean, it's been a fairly quiet free agency period for the Montreal Canadiens. Did you expect this, or are you a little bit surprised?
Not surprised that the Canadiens were quiet in free agency, but I thought that they would dip their toes and, see what was out there. The way that I've been describing it, that I wanted the Canadiens to go big fish hunting, put it out there, try and get that big fish. But, if you don't catch it, it's okay. You can go and wait till tomorrow, and tomorrow for the Canadiens can be next year. And don't just keep fishing to catch something.
Right.
A lot of teams do that on free agency. They strike out on their first player, they strike out on their second player, then they overpay for their third player because they had extra money to lay around. And Ken Hughes alluded to that. He said, we had offers out there, and if we wanted to put more term on our offer, we would have signed them. But we didn't want to do that. Ken Hughes was very adamant about that. So they went after a couple, but they were comfortable walking away because they wanted to be on their terms, which is very hard to do in free agency. Free agency is about the players. The players have all the power. They're the ones that get to choose, and all teams overpay, and they'll give them the extra year and an extra million just so they could win a bidding war. But I was surprised they really came up really empty and picked up nobody. But I'm not surprised once the big fish were gone, they said, we're good. We'll wait till next year. We're not in a rush. We're not just going to spend money.
I do wonder, though, if they kind of go bargain bin shopping here, potentially on the back end. They got a pretty inexperienced blue line. There are some guys out there. If they were just looking at 1-year deals, sign a guy that maybe he has some trade value at the deadline, Oliver Shillington, maybe, there's Justin Schultz, there's Tyson Barrie, Ryan Suter, I guess, if you want another buyout possibility, there's lots of guys really, if they want one. Do you think they'll look for anybody that can help maybe with some puck moving on their back end?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that they're looking at the blue line because, if they wanted to go get someone for their power play, then they're taking away an opportunity for someone like Lane Hudson, who finished the season with them, that they're really excited about. I think they were very happy with what Mike Matheson did on the number one power play unit last year. Look at his offensive numbers with that unit. So, puck moving, yes, they have a couple of players. They're going to give the opportunities to Jordan Harris and Justin Barron and Jaden Struble. Struble is going to be a great penalty killer. They have David Savard already. If they wanted to get a defenseman that was going to be a placeholder, a 5, 6, 7, they would have kept Jonathan Kovacevic, but they decided to trade him away because I think that they know that they have David Reinbacher, Logan Mailloux, and Lane Hudson, 3 rookies. They're not going to keep all 3, but 1 or 2 could be making the team. And they're really excited about all 3 of those players on the back end. So I don't think that they were going to go bargain bin shopping for a defenseman because they just have too many defensemen ready to go at this point. So up front, I thought they might have got it a placeholder, someone up front for 2 years waiting for Joshua Wall or a Demidov. The deal that Arvidsson got with Edmonton is the perfect deal that would have been great for the Canadiens. David Perron with Ottawa, 2 years. That would have been a perfect deal for the Canadiens. Other than that, once those players were kind of gone, I think that they decided not to go shopping.
That's interesting. The Habs right now, it looks like they'll have 4 defensemen, 23 and under, and Jordan Harris, Lane Hudson, Caden Gooley, Arbor Jacki. They also have, of course, young David Reinbacher if they want him. The Justin Barron, even in the minors, they're all young guys. They don't have a defenseman in the minors right now over the age of 22. It's crazy how young they're going. I just don't know that. I get the whole youth movement, but you still need some veterans to help protect the guys when they start to get caved in. That's just a fact. That's been proven at every level.
Yeah, well, I think to that point, it's one of the reasons why at the trade deadline, they didn't trade David Savard last year.
Yeah.
There was a lot of interest in David Savard, and there could be more interest this year for David Savard. But Kent Hughes said his value, yes, we could trade him and get something pretty good. You know, those kind of defensemen, they go for boatloads at the deadline. People overpay for the shutdown defensemen. But Ken Hughes said his value to stay with our young defensemen means that much more than going to get a third and a fourth round pick. So David Savard being around, Mike Matheson, you feel like he's a young guy, but he's 30 now, and he's been around, and he's now playing those top minutes. Gooley is a young guy, but it feels like he's played in the NHL for 5 years that no one knows about. He has that veteran feel to him. But yeah, there's a lot of young guys. You mentioned Reinbacher. The three to look out for, you could say Harris, Struble, and Jackeye, but it's Reinbacher, Lane Hudson, and Logan Mailloux. Those are the three that will be knocking on the door and getting big opportunities at some point in the next calendar year.
You think they're all going to play in the NHL this coming season?
I think they'll all get an opportunity. I think that there's no way they're going to go with three rookie defensemen on the blue line. I think there's a stronger chance Reinbacher starts in Laval, and Mailloux is the guy that was top defenseman in the AHL. He made the All-Star team. He's got offensive and big physical prowess defensively. A little immaturity to his game, but he is right on the cusp of being an NHL defenseman. Lane Hudson, coming out of college, he got his NHL games last year. I'm curious about him. For him, I have no idea if he's going to be NHL ready, but he has all those offensive weapons in his toolbox. So I think one out of the three definitely making the team. Two is a longer shot, but I think they'll all get an opportunity to play a good handful of games this year.
Sean Campbell joins us from 690 in Montreal. Yuri Slavkovsky got the big 8-year extension, $7.6 million, less than Caulfield, less than Nick Suzuki, even though he signed later than them. And some might argue that he might end up being better. This could be a real bargain for the Habs.
Yeah, that deal right away, I think a lot of people felt that they liked it. They said right away, they were like, this is a good deal because you're betting, it's kind of you're making that investment. You're betting on, if I pay him now, I'm going to be paying less than what he's worth later. And the Canadiens in a year and a half, because he was injured in his rookie year for half the season. So you've only really seen him for a year and a half. They've seen enough to invest this much money and to invest this many years. Last year, the progression from October to April was exponential with what Slavkovsky was able to do. The chemistry with Suzuki and Caulfield was undeniable. So the Canadiens called him up on July 1st and his agent, and they said the deal got done within seconds. And it really was that quick. Slavkovsky didn't want to worry about the money. He just wanted to worry about security. He said, 9 years, I know where I'm going to be. This feels good. And a lot of these players, it's a good indication, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, the base of what the Canadiens are trying to build, they're all buying in. None of them are saying, oh, give me a bridge or this. No, they're all buying into what the Montreal Canadiens are doing. So I think that's a good indication to everybody else.
Yeah. Well, now they got to go out and produce to it, because it's great to buy in when you get the big money, but now you got to live up to it.
Absolutely.
You look at on a guy like Josh Anderson. He's got 3 years left at 5.5. How much of his struggles are, health-wise? How much of his foot speed? What do you make of Anderson? And, what does he need to do to get back on track?
Foot speed, I would say less so.
Okay.
Injuries, it could be something that has caught up to him over the last few years with his style of play. I think he has to play with certain people that get him. He's a tough player. He has a tough time adapting when he gets thrown around different lines. Okay. And he's had success in the National Hockey League, but that's when he had stability, when he knew who he was playing with and what he was playing with. And with the Canadiens, he just could get into a top six role. Even he got opportunities, but he was all over the place, and it didn't work with Doc. It didn't work with Suzuki. It didn't work. And then you're like, well, is that a Doc Suzuki problem, or is this going to be a Josh Anderson problem? Now, Josh Anderson, with the contract that they have, I think he is a player that if he can figure it out and he has a bounce back season, very much like Armia did last year, then you might be able to find a trade partner, because you might have to bite the bullet within a year and eat some of that salary, but you might be able to find a player, because every time he's ever been in the playoffs, he is someone that you want on your roster. With the Canadiens, he has been dynamic, physical, and a presence. One of those guys that after a series, you're like, man, I noticed Josh Anderson. Teams notice that. So I think there's a potential, but that's probably, they have to take this year and fix him. And they're not going to buy him out. I don't think that there's a trade partner right now. If not, he would be already gone because of the contract. This is a year about saving Josh Anderson's career. I really do.
Sean, great stuff, man. We appreciate you. Look at the East. Give me your thoughts. Montreal, just looking at what they've done in free agency, I don't see how anyone could think they're going to make the playoffs. So if you look at all those teams, Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit, Pittsburgh, do you see any of them getting in? And then if so, who comes out?
Yeah, that's tough. I'm not a big believer in the Ottawas and Buffaloes who go through all these changes and then nothing really happens. And kind of, you see kind of that losing culture around. We'll see how that changed with the Senators, with the new ownership coming in and the new management and what changes they do. So they're a team that I'll circle because I think that if things don't go well, they'll make their major changes. They'll make their moves very much like how the season didn't start well for Edmonton. And then you saw all those major changes happening. So I think the Sens are kind of feeling the pressure. Detroit's probably a little bit better. But it's not even about them. It's about who's going to knock off Florida, Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Boston. Like who's going to, within the Atlantic Division itself, who's going to knock over those teams? And did any of those teams get worse? Maybe a smidgen, but they're still all going to be right in the playoff mix. So for the Canadiens, I think the idea is to be there with the Ottawa and Buffaloes and maybe have some games in late March that mean something. Maybe miss the playoffs instead of by 20 points, miss it by 8 points. That's the kind of progression I think they're looking for.
Sean, great stuff, man. I really appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All right, there you go. That's Sean Camel from TSN 690. So Slavkov, like think about it. He's bigger. He's younger. The cap has gone up, and he's still signed for less than Caulfield and Suzuki. So I think that now I know he doesn't have the same numbers as them, but I will not be surprised at all if Juraj Slavkovsky becomes the best of those three down the road, and people look and say, man, that's the steal bargain for the Montreal Canadiens. Quick break. We'll speed things up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. With sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Be melon jolly, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt, and fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
The Ben Maller Show rolls out weeknights at midnight here on Sports 1440. I've been told I have one of the most compelling overnight sports talk shows, but I question that decision. I will let you be the judge. Check it out, midnight to 4 here on Sports 1440.
Hey, Elks fans.
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate
football
experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
For over 65 years, Denim Ford has been the trusted heart of Central Alberta. We're not just a dealership, we're a tradition of honesty and excellence with honest pricing and genuine service. We proudly earned Canada's only 51-time President's Award for customer satisfaction. Join our extended family and experience the Denim Ford difference. Whether on the Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or online at denimford.ca, your journey to trust and excellence starts with us. Denim Ford, driving tradition forward.
Hey now, I'm Johnny Radio coming to you from No Bull RV here in Spruce Grove. You've probably been hearing about how they're closing the Spruce Grove store, probably because I won't shut up about it. And the owner of the store, Rick Showers, doesn't want to move all these quality used RVs to the new store in Leduc, and who can blame him? So now he's really leaning into the value-added stuff. Ain't that right, Rick?
That's right, Bob.
It's Johnny, actually. But now he's saying with every RV from Spruce Grove, he's going to throw in, are you ready, detailing inside and out to get it looking its best, plus a brand new 12-volt deep cycle battery, and he's going to fill your propane tanks to the brim, no extra charge. On top of all that, he's going to give you a 90-day payment holiday. So don't make a single payment until the fall. So come in before he comes to his senses, and don't forget to say hi to me, Johnny Radio, and check out all these beautiful used RVs on sale at No Bull RV in Spruce Grove. Visit nobullrv.ca for details.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
To 347 on Edmonton Sports Leader TSN 1260. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Hope you're having yourself an awesome Thursday afternoon. It's going to heat up. Ooh, look at the weather. Talking like high 20s, maybe low 30s. Should be good. Looking forward to it. Let's get to the racing report now, brought to you by Can Torque, and they're speeding things up as they now have in-house machining capacity. And that means quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and more. You can give them a call, 436-2000, or send them an email, calling at cantorque.com. It's Colin Livingston joins us once again. And, man, there was lots of debate and discussion between so you had Norris and Verstappen, and they're racing, and it's like, oh, this can be a great race for first. Norris definitely looked like he had the quicker car, and people say, hey, you know what, Max, he's aggressive, he just doesn't give up his position. Now, I'm not a car racer, so I looked at it and I watched, I'm like, yeah, okay, he's at fault, but I don't know if you want guys to just give up and let somebody pass you. So was it that egregious? Was it a little bit too aggressive? Where do you come out on Max and kind of his defense of the pass?
You're asking me personally?
Yeah.
That was Max, 100%.
No, I don't discount it as Max, but how, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, is it
10.
like, it's a 10 egregious?
10
okay. Aside
from somebody, getting roughed up by somebody, seeing them prone and just drilling them.
Yeah, so that's a 10 to me. So it can't be a 10.
For retro, but the argument and the conversation has been over the last couple of years since Max got his first championship in very, very controversial form that, he's matured as a driver. He sees the big picture. He's in this for he wants another championship. And the second that he got put under pressure and the second that somebody started snipping at his heels, he went back to the old Max where, depending on where you fall, if you're a fan of Max Verstappen, you're going to say, that's just good, hard racing and just, let him be. And when people race Max like that within the Red Bull camp, you'll hear him say that, that's way over the line. You can't do that kind of stuff. That's dangerous. That sets a bad precedent. So there's a level of hypocrisy that comes from most racers, but these guys specifically, where Max can do no wrong. And I don't fault them for defending their driver. That's what their job is. The Christian Horner, the Helmut Marko, the mouthpieces of their team, they are supposed to defend their driver. But a lot of these teams, when their driver makes a mistake, they have no problem. Like within the Red Bull group, they have no problem dumping all over Checo Perez, saying,
exactly.
He's got to pick up his game and he's really not matching our expectations. And Checo gets into an accident on the opening lap, damages a side pod, trying to put his car where it wouldn't have fit on the opening lap, and posts a picture at the end of the day because he finished it was 8th or 9th or something insignificant. And there wasn't much we could do because there was a big hole in the side pod. It was like, did you ever think about not putting a hole in the side pod and maybe you could go compete? But these guys are so funny that, there are drivers in the series who will own up to their mistakes. They'll say, you know what? I was overly ambitious. If I could do it again, I probably wouldn't. Max just takes a look, extends a middle finger,
so it
and
makes
says,
them a good villain.
I'm not going to change. I don't care what you say. What needs to happen though is the FIA, the people who create and are supposed to enforce the rules, need to come up with penalties. Max has got so many penalties in his career that have meant nothing.
Yeah, the 10-second penalty it didn't matter because he was 17 seconds in front of the guy behind him. So it was a relevant penalty. I agree.
Unless they start coming with penalty points, unless they start coming with repercussions, there is absolutely no reason for him to change. You see Kevin Magnussen within 2 points of one race suspension. All of a sudden, he's getting decent finishes. His car's staying on track. He's not causing any problems because he knows if he does, he's in serious trouble. Max needs a little taste of that because there's been no repercussion. Even last year, or pardon me, 2 years ago at Silverstone, Max and Lewis made contact. Lewis finally said, I'm not backing out. Because that's what Max will do, is he'll push someone to the limit to get them to, and Lewis said, I'm sticking it. They made contact. Max made an 80G impact into the wall, got taken to the hospital. He wasn't hurt. He was banged up.
But still, serious.
Didn't slow him down.
No.
Didn't change it. Nothing. Now, again, with the hypocrisy within the Red Bull group, Lewis shouldn't have finished the race. Lewis shouldn't have been able to do this. Lewis didn't even come to the hospital. Next race, 2 races later, Verstappen parked his car on top of Lewis's head at Monza. That's just hard racing.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, guys. Yeah. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah. I will say the F1 this year has become much more exciting than last.
Yes.
And now you have their team principal Stella came out in an interview when Karun asked, don't all greats do this? And he's like, don't compare him to the greats. He's not Sienna. He's not Prost. He's not 8-time champion like Lewis. And he goes, 8-time champion. I consider 2021 to be Lewis. And most people would, when you look at what happened there, but I thought it's a good dig because it's never going to change. But now there's because there really hasn't been a McLaren and Red Bull rivalries for a long time. And now you got Ferrari. And, Russell gets probably one of the luckiest wins. Well, definitely the luckiest win of his career. He's only had 2. But I just look at him like, all right, now it's competitive here down the stretch. And, this will make for, I think, a lot more entertaining. It's actually good to have it. So there's lots of different teams that are competitive on different days. And obviously Ferrari's probably annoyed with where they're going right now. But, this kind of makes it fun. From I'm not a diehard F1 fan. I definitely watch it. My son and wife watch it way more than I do. So I kind of get sucked into watching it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know why, but I like it more when there's a little drama. I'll admit it. It's the one sport where I'm like, I kind of like the drama.
Yeah. What's good about this is that it's genuine drama. It's not contrived
Fair
where
point.
it's like, okay, we're going to have a caution towards the end of the race. We're going to bunch everyone up for a 2-lap shootout, and we're going to do this 5 times in a row. That's this is legitimate.
Sounds like
this is that actually does sound like NASCAR. But this is legitimate. These are 2 drivers who are, friends off the track for now. I don't think that their friendship is going to survive if they keep racing like this, because it just can't. You can look at Lewis and Nico Rosberg. They can't stand each other. You can take a look at Lewis and Fernando Alonso. They have issues with each other. Like over the years, these, Danny Ricciardo and Max, they can get along now. But when they were teammates at Red Bull, and Max made the same move on Ricciardo in Baku that he made on Lando Norris, where he moved in the braking zone. They made contact and destroyed both of their cars. Both of them didn't finish. There was a lot of angst between the drivers until Ricciardo just walked away. But yeah, I mean, we're almost to the point now this weekend. I don't know that you can predict. You can easily say it's going to be Max or Lando, but you don't really know who's going to win the race. So now there's a little bit of excitement. There's a little bit more to play for, because all it takes is a mistake. All it takes is Red Bull screwed up pit stops.
Yeah, that 7-second pit stop. They
don't make mistakes on pit stops. Now they can happen. Like sometimes the nut just doesn't release. The gun just doesn't work. The wheel just doesn't come off. They really created that situation, and they put their driver under a lot of pressure that he didn't really need. He probably would have been caught anyway, but that flipped a switch in the driver's head that's like, uh-oh, now I'm being hunted, and went into that defensive posture. Fun to watch, but eventually my concern, I don't care. These guys can crash every car they have. It just costs money. I don't want to see people get hurt, and that is what's going to happen eventually when these things keep happening and these close calls.
If those were open wheel racing at like ridiculous speeds.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen, Alex Albon a couple of years ago at Silverstone, upside down in between the walls where, fortunately they had the halo. Without that, it could have been really bad. These things can happen. Racing is always going to be a dangerous sport, no matter how safe we make it. But I just don't want to see people getting hurt.
And hey, the British Grand Prix this coming weekend, it should be loads of fun. Moving over to other than open wheel racing in IndyCar, you look at it, they have the turbo hybrid era is coming out. What for non-racing enthusiasts? What for those who kind of watch it but don't really understand all the ins and outs? What does this mean? Time
is going to tell. So IndyCar is implementing this weekend a system very similar to what F1 has. They've taken the existing engines, the 2.2 liter V6 engines, and now they've added a hybrid system. So there's going to be an electric store that can be deployed. It can be charged by braking.
Well, dude, electric, when you touch, you touch an electric car, like it's instant.
Yeah. So what it's going to add something like 160, 180 horsepower when they deploy.
Okay.
I meant to send you a video. IndyCar did a great job explaining the capacitors that they're using. So the deployment of this new system, because it's new generation, is I believe is actually a better system than what Formula One has.
Okay.
It's going to allow the car can regenerate itself under coasting, under braking, or the driver can actually toggle a mode on the steering wheel to put the car into recharge mode.
Wow.
That will let them deploy that up to a certain amount. It's kind of like what they did with push to pass. They've got an amount of time, but it is a real kick in the butt for how much it's going to move.
We have a lot of passing already in IndyCar. Is this going to make even more?
I believe so.
Oh, wow.
I mean, time will tell. This weekend, Mid-Ohio, there's a couple of good passing zones. Whatever you want to call it, the hairpin. It's Mid-Ohio is kind of a wonky track because they actually start the race driving to turn 4, and then after the opening lap, then everything kind of reverts back to normal. But couple decent passing zones, really lots of elevation that you don't necessarily see on TV. Going to be fun to watch. No idea who's going to win that one, especially with this new package. And what I'm curious about, and I actually asked one of the IndyCar media people, if the teams get any extra allotment, because they've only got, I think, 6 engines that have to go, each engine has to go so many kilometers before they can pull it out. Otherwise, they get into a penalty. If with this new system, it's going to start stressing components more than they've ever been. If they get any extra allotment or if there's any extra, he said, no, everything carries on the way it is. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's going to be any mechanical issues, any premature failures, any, kind of like they've tested this thing for the last 2 years. So I think they're finally it was supposed to be debuted last year and never got to it. It was supposed to start at the beginning of this year. They never quite were comfortable. Hopefully they've got most of the bugs worked out. Going to be fun to watch.
The EDKRA, the big summer challenge, you guys had like over 150 racers, I think it was.
It was a lot.
Now you've told us that it's been a tough year. One time you forgot to put gas in your vehicle, so that's how tough it's been for you.
That was one. Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened? How'd you win?
Well, way to ruin the surprise. Yes, I did win. How did I win? I had a lot of help. Not to sound falsely modest, but our group, as most karting groups are made up of really good people. So I spent a lot of time practicing and testing because the way I had my kart set up, I knew wasn't right. I just wanted to go back to something that was kind of standard for me. But I had, most of my competitors, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of my competitors, as they see me struggling to, it took me an hour and a half to bash out an axle the other day. This is something that it was a mechanical issue. It wasn't really a me issue.
All right.
I've solved the problem, but one of my buddies, Troy Shellamy, who ended up finishing third, he helped me out on the Sunday night before just so I could be ready. How did I do it? Honestly, I was really lucky because at the end of the final, like probably we did a 12-lap final from about lap 6 to the end, I was nowhere near the fastest kart in my class. Damon Shellamy was probably 0.3 of a lap quicker than me, and especially in one section. The only thing that saved me is I'm still really good under the brakes, and Damon is an extraordinarily clean racer. I could see, because as we were getting towards the end of the night, the shadows become very pronounced. So I could see he would get this crazy run on me at turn 2, and I'm watching a shadow as I'm driving. I could see he was beside me, and I would just wait until I could see Jesus, and then I'd hit the brakes. And it was just enough to just get in front of him. And I did that for 6 laps in a row. Once I got through the braking zone that he got the best run, I was able to bring it home. I was pretty quick everywhere else, but this one section, I couldn't do it. Thankful again, Damon, I think we're all pretty clean racers, especially in our group. Thankful that.
So Damon, you're saying he wasn't Max?
He didn't. Well, in that case,
it would have been you.
I was more Max, although I we can always get him on the phone.
Let's hear. I want to hear his version. Should we be calling you Colin Verstappen? That's what we'll have to find out.
That's going to be a problem. No, I don't think. I talked to him afterwards. I'm like, I don't think I blocked. I don't think I moved. He's like, no, you were clean. He actually hit me at one point because he got hit from behind, and he made sure he backed out. Like he could have ended me quite quickly. We were going through one corner. Just it happens. It wasn't a deliberate. It was out of his control. But no, we had a lot of fun. Great job by our executive, all the volunteers. We can never race without, our race director and all the stewards and corner workers. And, really thankful that, the fat guy managed to put another trophy on
there you go.
On my desk.
Nice. Well, we'll chat with you next. Enjoy the British Grand Prix. I'm kind of excited to see what happens. You don't see F1 3 I love the fact it's 3 weekends in a row. It's kind of nice. So
looking forward. Yeah, it's going to be a good day on Sunday.
You betcha. That's Colin Livingston in the Racing Report, brought to you by Can Torque. Let's get to the Command Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Albatross Roofing. They are looking for experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators. You must have experience with SBS modified bitumen roofing systems. You can apply at roofingalbatross.ca. Here's Connor.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Week 5 in the NFL kicks off tonight as the Riders host the Argos out in Saskatchewan. Now we'll get going at 7 o'clock. Some other news from the CFL as an arbitrator has reinstated The CFL's indefinite suspension of Montreal Alouettes defensive lineman Sean Lemon for gambling on sports. The CFL said in a statement that Lemon will remain suspended until after an arbitration hearing, which has been rescheduled for August 1st and 2nd. World Junior News, Dave Cameron will be back behind the bench for the 2025 tournament. Cameron, OHL Ottawa 67 head coach, was the head coach of the team that won back in 2022. He was also assistant on the team that won in 2009. From the NBA, the Golden State Warriors are acquiring Buddy Hield in a sign-and trade with the Philadelphia 76ers, originally taken with a 6th overall pick back in 2016 out of Oklahoma. Hield has appeared in 632 career games over 8 seasons with the Sixers, Pacers, Kings, and Pelicans. Major League Baseball today, of course, being Independence Day. Lots of games going on. Jays falling at home to the Astros 5-3. Hit the Red Sox over the Marlins 6-5. White Sox losing to the Guardians 8-4. Twins over the Tigers 12-3. Phillies get beaten up on by the Cubbies 10-2. Padres over the Rangers 3-1. Reds doubled up the Yankees 8-4. Right now, 2 games underway. The Athletics lead the Angels 4-0 in the 6th. Then the top of the 7th, Orioles and Mariners tied at 2 apiece. Later tonight, got the Braves, Giants, Brewers, Rockies, and the Royals host the Rays. It all gets capped off. The Diamondbacks heading to LA to take on the Dodgers. Copa America tonight. Ecuador and Argentina meet in Houston. That'll start at 7 o'clock tomorrow. At Euros, you got Germany and Spain at 10 a.m. Then at 1 o'clock, France takes on Portugal. And in the WNBA tonight, the Lynx hosting the Sun. That'll get going at 6. At 8 o'clock, the Mystics in Vegas to take on the Aces. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will ask 5 questions and be joined by Vancouver Canucks beat reporter Jeff Patterson. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you'll tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? The Mixed and Mingle League. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club every Thursday as they pair up males and females for a fun and social round of golf. Only $33.30 all season long. Details at cattailcrossing.ca. Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
The sports world never clocks out. Neither do we. Sports 1440 has you covered with Fox Sports tonight after 9 and all weekend long. So when you're ready to head home, we're warming up again. Sports 1440, bringing you an all-star performance every day.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today. Edmonton Stingers basketball face the Vancouver Bandits Friday, July 5th at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Join NHL alumni at the Hockey Heroes Charity Alumni Weekend in Whitecourt on September 6th and 7th. A Friday night banquet featuring live entertainment, auctions, and a great meal, followed by a charity golf tournament Saturday at the Whitecourt Golf and Country Club. Visit hockeyheroesgame.com to register.
Four o'clock, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Welcome back. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, whether it's baseball, CFL, you wanted to do season predictions already for the NHL, NBA, they got it all at PlayAlberta.ca. On a sad note, should pass along Dylan Powley, who, of course, big in the soccer community here in Edmonton, ended up playing pro soccer in Sweden and Europe for a bit, came back, played for FC Edmonton, also Atletico Ottawa. He was laid to rest today, 27 years of age, passed away in a motorcycle crash last week. So a big loss for the local Edmonton soccer community and all those involved and who knew Dylan. So our thoughts go out to him and his family and all those who played with him and knew him, obviously way too young at 27 years of age. Hey, Gregor, is it true that Colin thinks you're the anchor of your golf team? No, I don't think he does. No, Livingston's, well, he should be a better golfer than me. He's got a membership. So, yeah, no, trust me. I'm no anchor. I'm a really good scramble player, though, because I only need a few certain shots of the day. I'm not consistent enough. But every now and then, Dren, I can, if somebody reads, I can't read a green myself, I'm brutal. But if I see, if I putt third or fourth, I got good touch. I just can't read the green. So I need to see, oh, that's where it goes. So yeah, it's brutal. Now, I've never really, I see guys, no, they hold their club up. I'm like, what are you looking at? And I try to do it. I'm like, I don't know. They explain it to me. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm lost. I can see the obvious ones, but the real good reads, no, completely. If I play by myself, I'll be like, oh yeah, I think it goes this way. And then it ends up going the other way. It's not, it's fun. It's a humbling sport, a very humbling sport. So we'll see. Lots more text going on. 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, you mentioned the Oilers GM doesn't have big moves, but what about the Draisaitl contract? Isn't that the biggest move in franchise up until McDavid from Pat? Yeah, it's a very important, Pat, but honestly, how difficult of a negotiation is it going to be? Leon says, I want 5 years. Okay. Do you think the Oilers are going to not take 5? They're going to try to get longer, I'm sure. But the money's what, 13 to 14 mil? I don't really see it being, I think the Bouchard contract is a much more interesting negotiation. He's an RFA. He's not a UFA. So, there's not the urgency to get Evan Bouchard done for the Oilers organization. And I'm not one who believes that if you don't have a contract done a year before it expires, that means you don't respect the player. That to me is the most I don't know where that thought process came from all of a sudden, but I think it's ridiculous. I don't, what, for the elite guys, sure, some, but even, Evan Bouchard had a really good year. He's not going to be stressed if he doesn't have a contract extension. Why would he? He's like, guess what? Worst case scenario, I go to arbitration and I got a really good case. If he went actually through the arbitration process, he would set a record. I guarantee it, for the highest award ever in NHL arbitrator. Look at his numbers. He had 82 points last year. He broke the record for most assists by a defenseman in a single playoffs this year. Finished with the third most points ever by a defenseman in the playoffs. I don't see Bouchard create. So, and that's why, to me, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, like, he just had an unreal year. So if we wait and negotiate, maybe he has a really good year again, but it's not as good. You know what I mean? So I don't really think there's an urgency. Bouchard's contract, again, is one. They're going to look around and, okay, if he has another good year, like, he's still a $10 million defenseman. Like, he would have to have an even better year to get that much higher. Right? Because you just look at the contracts lately by defensemen. Like, when did Drew Doughty and Carlson sign their contracts? How many years ago? Right? Rasmus Dahlin, I think, has $11 million deal now. Which, now that's in Buffalo. And some were kind of surprised that he got that high, considering the numbers he's put up. Right, there's an organization that has a boatload of money. And you know what? Every other defenseman in the league's like, thank you, Rasmus. Thank you very much. Right? Look at Darnell Nurse. Darnell Nurse benefited because Seth Jones and Werenski and Hamilton, all those guys, everybody thought the number was going to be $8 million. In March and April, and then all it takes is one, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, look, he got 9. Well, I'm just as good as him," and compare their numbers. So Bouchard, they're all like, "Oh, Rasmus Dahlin got 11. Well, now that's probably the new line." But is it suddenly going to jump to 12? Like, he'd probably have to get 100 points to jump to 12. I guess it's possible, sure, but I don't see that one as tough. As for Draisaitl, it's an important one. I just don't think it's a very difficult negotiation. Right? Unless they're going to have to convince him. Like, if he says, I don't want to sign, then you're going to need to have a GM who's a really good persuader. I've never got that sense at all. Right now, they're on the stag for McDavid, then they're going to have the wedding. It's his best friend. They've lost in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. Draisaitl himself said he thought he could play better in the Stanley Cup final. So, knowing Draisaitl is going to say, you know what? We got a really good team. Had I played up to my capabilities, and his standards are way higher than I ever put on him or any of you put on him, he probably thinks they would have won. So I'll be way more surprised if he doesn't sign than if he does. And if he signs at whatever number it is, I don't think the number's going to be, that hard of a negotiation. So we'll see. And I know people keep asking about the offer sheet. I'm going to say this. The chance of Dylan Holloway offer sheet, like, Dylan Holloway has 6 goals in 89 games, guys. He had a good playoff run. Lots of young guys have good playoff runs. They don't get offer sheet. Offer sheets are very rare. Very rare. And Sebastian Aho, when he got his offer sheet, he'd been a pretty established player. And Carolina was like, thank you. That was such an easy match for them. What was it, $8.5 million? Now, Kotkaniemi, that was a revenge offer sheet. And look at it. It's been terrible for Carolina. Terrible. Kotkaniemi never lived up to the $6 million. He hasn't lived up to the 4.9 extension that they signed him. So, see where it goes. (833-401-1440) in our inbox. Some other news we got. Hey, Greg's, what do you make of the Elks and the D lineman they got from Toronto? Why'd they wait so long? That's a good question. Because Cons, he got released, before the season began. Now, I'm guessing the Elks, you know what? They went out, and what was the one thing we said at the start of the season? Why'd they get rid of Jake Ceresna? How are they going to replace Jake Ceresna? And guess what? 4 weeks into the year, Cons, they could use a little bit more pressure from the D-line. That's not a real surprise to anyone.
No, absolutely not. I guess their thought was ratio. They can find an American defensive lineman. Sometimes maybe just a little too confident in your scouting abilities. Sean Oakman, yeah, he's a guy who's been very good with the Toronto Argonauts for the last few years, 6 sacks per year. I mean, geez, I think we all know him from going kind of viral for that picture he had when he was playing back in Baylor. But yeah, guy who's pretty good getting to the quarterback. I think he's a good addition, and they've got to find ways to get to the quarterback. We've seen them giving up the big plays. As Ed Hervey said on this show for many years, right? You want to build up from the offensive and the defensive line. And I think he's a veteran guy who's paid his dues in the CFL, can come in here, probably can pick up the playbook pretty quick, playing on that defensive line and be a good addition. But they've got to find a way to generate a little bit more pressure. A lot of times, you've heard me say it here, we talk about the holes in the secondary and how they're getting exploited. Well, when the quarterback has so much time to make those throws and make those reads, that's going to happen, especially in the CFL. So quickest way to adjust that, find a way to address your pass rush. And Sean Oakman right now might be the best guy to do so, rather than taking flyers on guys who, are coming out of these smaller schools down south.
Yeah, so we'll see. You know what? Coming off the bye week, next week they got Ottawa. I know it's a 0-4 start to the season, but when I look at the organization and the desperation to try to get some excitement for your fan base against an Ottawa team that isn't that good, you have to win. I'll say it now. I know that they're closing in on a sale, Connor, right? And now the new owner, right? I will say this about the new owner. They're going to be able to make some waves because they'll change some things for sure, right? Obviously, they're not going to be a board anymore. There'll be some other moves. I don't see Chris Jones getting axed right away. Obviously, if they don't make the playoffs, I think in the offseason, that's probably very much a possibility. And I think the new owner is going to expect that. They know what they're paying Jones. The CFL, there's already talk about the CFL would waive that so they wouldn't have all that counting against the management cap for them. Right? I think the league's going to do everything they can to try to allow, the owner to want to purchase the team, to want to be successful, and try to get it pointed in the right direction. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a quick fix. It's not going to be like snap my fingers overnight. Everything's hunky-dory. So in the meantime, if you feel that you've got a team that's a semblance of competitive, and at least they've been competitive, no one can argue they're not competitive. They just can't win. They get close and then stub their toe in the fourth quarter repeatedly, 3 games in a row. But if you get a win, maybe once you get one win, maybe mentally that helps you get over the hurdle. I don't know. They do play Ottawa back-to-back. So if you beat them once, then maybe you can beat them twice. But I think they desperately need a win because you're not having people go to the games simply because there's less chance to win right now. And that's a fact. We have fans texting the show, right? Like you go to the Stingers games because you got a really good chance to win. Now, you didn't always have that, but they built it up. They had a good atmosphere, and now they win. Riverhawks, same thing, right? Like last year, they were just above average team, but they had great attendance. Now this year, they're a really good team, and they got even better attendance. So, the Elks, I still firmly believe there's lots of people who want to root for the team. And I do think, knowing Edmonton's community spirit, when it is owned by an individual in the market, and when that individual, I think their opening press conference is going to be important. There's been a lot of things that the Elks have said and done that have turned off their fan base. Right? When the former head of the board comes out and says, our fan, basically, they're too white and too old. Pardon? Like, are you serious? And then rather than apologize, Cons, you're like, oh no, they twisted my words. We replayed what you said. No one twisted your words. You said it. You said it stupidly, and it made no sense. Zero. If you wanted to say, hey, we love our fans, we'd like to get younger, everybody in the crowd be like, yeah, that's fair. No problem. But you don't spit in the face of your loyal fan base. So the new owner, make no mistake, I think he'll have it's an uphill battle for sure. But I also think, based on the history of this community, there'll be lots of people who want to support someone that's trying to keep football alive in the city. That's how I view it. Where do you come out?
I'm with you. I mean, I go to these watch parties, Gregor. I know that there's fans out there. They want to get out there and watch this team win. We've seen it before. That's the biggest thing for me. And I've had people say the Elks just need to do what the Stingers and the Riverhawks do. Well, they play in significantly smaller venues. So, it's going to be always a challenge when you're playing in a 60,000 seat stadium. When you're only getting whatever the number is, it's going to look a whole lot worse. Winning games, That's the key. Maybe lowering ticket prices might get people in. I don't know if that's something they'd consider long term. Maybe concession, because we do know that the the Stingers, great success with their concession prices, right? That's keeping people happy. So I think winning is the big one. You get people out having a good time. That's how I got into it, watching the really great Eskimo players of the past, winning football games. The atmosphere that they built up there was top notch. But it all starts with winning, Gregor. Once they can get that going again, I think the rest will kind of fall into place, and the city will show the love for the team and get back out there.
Hey, Gregor, you think any chance they do a Klefbom deal like they did or Broberg for Klefbom? No, because Oscar Klefbom had played full seasons in the NHL when he got that extension. Broberg hasn't. I don't think the Oilers are going to sign Philip Broberg, because you got to remember, Klefbom got 4.1, and that was what, 9-10 years ago? That would be equivalent today in the cap world of like 5.7. There's no chance that's happening. Like zero chance. Right? Broberg's good. There's lots of arrows, but no one knows how good right now. You know, you can be impressed by how he played in the playoffs, but you can't let emotion get in the way with it. You have to make a prudent decision on his contract extension, and they're not going to give him 5.5 after that. It wouldn't make any sense to me. 425, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. We will take a quick break. When we come back, one of your biggest rivals for Oiler fans, did they improve? We'll find out next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
What a season. What a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
The Bricks Appliance Super Sale is here. Check out amazing deals on all major appliances, like chest freezer starting at just $199 and washer and dryer packages for under $1,500. Shop incredible deals in other departments, like up to $920 off sofas and sectionals. Plus, from July 5th to 8th only, get specialty prices like mattresses starting at just $149 and buy more, save more, up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Super excited with Edmonton Stinger basketball. Edmonton Stingers basketball is back and better than ever. Stingers Pro Basketball offers the most family-friendly and affordable sports fun in Edmonton. Cheer on your Stingers and experience the thrill of live basketball. Enjoy free parking and take advantage of $5 food and drink concessions, making it a perfect outing for the whole family. Tickets start at just $20, so don't miss out on the action. With only 5 home games left this season, get your tickets today at www.thestingers.ca.
Bust a Gut at Grindstones Comedy Festival between July 3rd and 7th. You have a chance to see Dave Merhej, Bida Judaki, Abbas Wahab, and more. There's even karaoke, workshops, and other activities. Can't decide what to do? The indoor bundle is just $93.38, while the outdoor bundle is just $113.98. Go to grindstonecomedyfest.com for a full list of shows. Again, that's grindstonecomedyfest.com to learn more.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Oh, j'aime mes cheveux!
Je lubię swoje włosy.
No kami. Psycho! Translation: I love my hair, and Dr. Vance Elliott is the reason why. He's an authority on hair restoration procedures, and not just in Edmonton. He teaches other doctors around the world how to perform successful hair transplants.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I want to be the reason why you love your hair. Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Edmonton is a great sports town. I've been there, I know. My name is Jason Smith. I host a late-night talk show here on Sports 1440. Join me and Mike Harmon tonight from 9 to midnight. There's always a ton of things to talk about, so tune in. Sports 1440.
Stop pretending that this is
Rolling right along Thursday afternoon, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Hope you're having an awesome day. The weather is heating up. Should be a real warm weekend. Oh, this is where I want to get to the outdoor pool, maybe a few cannonballs off the diamond boards. Have you been to Twilliger Pool? They have their platform. I think it's a 5-meter platform. So I had my son go off. We're going to the Kinsman. I don't know if he can go off the high one yet. I haven't been off the high one in a long time. I do remember as a younger human doing it, but I don't know now. It's a pretty big jump. We'll see if I can do it or not. Cons, you ever been off the high platform at the Kinsman?
Nope.
Are you not a swimmer?
I like swimming. I do enjoy that.
Are you scared of heights?
I don't like flying as much as I used to, but I don't mind heights. It's the impact that worries me more than anything. So diving off the highest ledge in the city, yeah, I'll pass.
You're passing?
Catch me in the hot tub, maybe. Watching.
I think it's the biggest hot tub in the city.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah. Because look at when that was built. There wasn't all the other, there was no West Edmonton Mall or anything else. So that was a massive pool. A massive hot tub in there. So that was when my son, he was amazed at how big the hot tub was at the Kinsman. So when was the last time any of you listening went off the high platform at the Kinsman, which is a 10-meter platform? I think it's 10 meters. Might even be higher than that. But it's pretty high up there. That's all I know. Let's get to our Pacific Report, brought to you by Action Electrical. Now, I don't know if Blake and the boys at Action can go off the high platform, but they're not afraid of heights because they're on the roof all the time installing solar. And you know what? Lots more people are getting it because you save a lot of money. If you want to be next, go to actionelectrical.net. And we continue our tour around the Pacific Division in the off season. Of course, it was a busy week in free agency. Jeff Patterson, Canucks reporter, as always, joins us. JP, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. Listening in. Enjoyed the discussion there about the platform. I don't have a body that's aerodynamically suited to the platform. I can make a fool of myself off just your standard everyday run-of-the-mill diving board. So I stick to the low stuff.
Okay. Are you more like a cannonball type of guy?
Yeah, and sort of inadvertently doing the odd belly flop. I will say this, that never had a pool, a backyard pool, but our best friends as couples, my wife and I, our best friends, they've got an incredible pool. Those are the best types of friends to have. The open invite throughout the summer, come anytime you want it, even if they're not home. We've done that before. Go use the pool. So basically, it's like having our own pool without any of the upkeep or the maintenance.
Oh, that's amazing. Because that's the hardest part of the pool. I've heard is the upkeep. So nice. The upkeep of the Vancouver Canucks roster. What do you make Zadorov, Lindholm, who were both midseason acquisitions, but both are gone. Mikheyev gets moved out as well. They bring in Jake DeBrusk. They bring in Danton Heinen. They bring in Vincent Desharnais, who goes from the Oilers to the Canucks. So that'll be fun for the rivalry. What do you make of the Canucks today compared to the team that ended the season?
Yeah, I don't think they're as good as the team that lost in Game 7 of the Oilers, only because Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov were both terrific playoff performers for the Canucks, particularly Zadorov. But Lindholm kind of understatedly just went about his business, scored an overtime goal against Nashville in the opening round, took on matchups, big face-offs, penalty kill, did an awful lot for the Canucks. Didn't do a ton in the regular season, but they didn't get him for the regular season. And when the chips were down in the playoffs, he was good. But it always sort of felt like a rental, and he'd been linked to Boston forever, so I'm not surprised that's where he wound up. The Zadorov one's interesting to me because the Canucks and Zadorov's camp did this dance for the better part of 6 weeks after the season. Both expressed how much they wanted the relationship to continue, and it was like they couldn't break up. But ultimately, on the Friday, I guess, of the draft, Patrick Allvin said, nope, doors closed, and Zadorov's going to hit the open market. So it was a question of where was he going to go? And quite frankly, with all of the crazy money that got thrown around, particularly for defensemen on Monday, I was anticipating and sort of bracing for a number that just didn't make sense. Really, I think the Canucks were sort of in the ballpark. Zadorov's he ends up getting $5 million over 6 years, so $30 million total. The reports were the Canucks were in the high fours, like 4.7 or 4.8. So they weren't that far off, but I do think that $5 million was sort of the hill that they weren't prepared to die on. They couldn't get to 5. Zadorov knew he could get it on the open market. I just thought there'd be one team that kind of did the silly shopping on July 1st, and I was sort of prepared for Zadorov to somehow, some way get 5.5 or even 6 out there somewhere on the market. But he'll be missed. I mean, he'll be loved in Boston. He already said, I don't want to be Big Z. I can't be Big Z. They've already got a Big Z in Boston, so they'll have to find a new nickname for him. But fans will love him the way that he plays. But ultimately, here they've got Quinn Hughes and Carson Soucy already locked in on the left side. And so it was a question of where does he slot on the depth chart? And if he's the third pairing guy, you just can't pay him $5 million per.
Right. Yeah. No, and that makes sense. I know he became a big fan favorite, right? He stirs the pot, chirps Edmonton, tells Vancouver fans how much they love him, and then boom, doesn't sign there. So, he definitely knows how to play the game for sure. I think how he plays on the ice definitely will bode well in any market, really. Big physical defensemen who make good commentary off the ice, and is a decent player, right? Like, he's not a perfect player, but he's a pretty good player. Jake DeBrusk comes in. Where do you see him? Like, if you had to pencil him in today, which line is he starting on?
I don't think there's any question. In fact, Patrick Allvin said as much on Monday that they brought him in with an eye to giving Elias Pettersson a legitimate scoring winger. Now, I have said in this market, Jason, since the Canucks season ended, that it doesn't matter what they did in free agency. It doesn't matter if they make big trades here. The most important offseason move is getting star power Elias Pettersson back, because wherever he went, he wasn't there down the stretch. He wasn't there in the playoffs. You saw that in the series against the Oilers. 1 goal in the playoffs, and just didn't look all that invested for whatever reason. And now the big money contract kicks in. Like on July 1st, he got the signing bonus for the $12 million signing bonus for the first of this multi-year, multi-million dollar, $92 million contract. They need him to start playing like a star again. And he's been a 102-point player, better than a point a game in his 6 years in the National Hockey League. It's there. It's just a question of where did it go. So how much of it's on Pettersson? How much is it going to be on DeBrusk? But that is the idea here, that Jake DeBrusk will come in, give Elias Pettersson a legitimate scoring winger, a guy that's been a 3-time 25-goal scorer in the National Hockey League, played with Charlie Coyle for the most part in Boston. The Canucks think, hey, if he can find chemistry with Pettersson, find a spot on the top unit power play, there's no reason to think that he can't score 30. I don't think anybody's thinking Jake DeBrusk all of a sudden going to be a 40-goal scorer for the Vancouver Canucks, but I think they think that in the right situation and with the right players around him, that he can certainly take a run at being a 30-goal guy. And I think that is the hope. He's a 27-year-old. He'll be 28. He was one of the younger unrestricteds out there on the market. And so they were willing to bet on term and go the max length at 7 years, 5.5 for goal scorers. That's not outrageous. And I want to be careful when I couch this, because I'm not suggesting that he is going to score like Zach Hyman did in Edmonton, but I think he can get a Zach Hyman-like bump coming here, playing with Elias Pettersson. If Pettersson gets back to that level and on the power play, that it's a reasonable expectation that there's more there from Jake DeBrusk than he had certainly this past year in Boston. But, even in his best years, 27 goals, I think the Canucks think that he can get into the 30s.
Jeff Patterson joins us from Vancouver. Jeff, Forbort and Desharnais come in. Is it too simple to say that's your third pair and they're going to run Soucy and Myers as their second pair and Roenick and Hughes as their first pair? Or do they have to split Roenick and Hughes up into their top 4?
I think they have to look at that, Jason. Hughes and Hronek showed last year. I mean, only 2 other defense pairs played more than they did at 5-on-5 in the National Hockey League last season. So they were strapped together, they were busy, and they were really good. They outscored opponents by close to 30 goals. Hughes talks about how much Hronek just getting him the puck a few more times per game. You get Quinn Hughes the puck a little bit more, good things generally happen. And it cuts both ways. Hughes helped Hronek certainly get to 48 points and get the big money extension that he got. But all of a sudden, behind those guys, you've got this forest of giants. Like the Canucks were already a big defense, even with Zadorov leaving and Forbort coming in.
Yeah.
You got 6'8" Tyler Myers, and now they add 6'7" Vinny Desharnais, who told us on the Zoom he did the other day that he's not convinced that Myers is 6'8". He still thinks that he might be the taller of the two. So there's going to have to be a measure off when they get to the training camp here. And we saw, but regardless, you got Carson Soucy at 6'5", you got Myers at 6'8", Desharnais at 6'7", and Forbort runs 6'4". Like Rick Tocchet loves his big defensemen, and he's got a bunch of them. Problem is, none of those guys moves the puck particularly well. And even in the playoffs, as much as Myers and Soucy were fairly effective in keeping McDavid and whoever he was playing with to the outside at 5-on-5. I mean, he kept him to the perimeter. Yeah. McDavid didn't dominate that series, but what the Oilers did do when Soucy and Myers were on the ice was absolutely cave them and spend 2-minute shifts where all those guys could do was keep them to the perimeter and, when they got their opportunity, flip the puck to center and race for the bench. So, you bring in DeBrusk, you bring in Danton Heinen, you've got Pettersson and Miller and Besser. Somebody's got to get them the puck. And I do worry a little bit about the puck moving ability, the transition game. There's a lot to like in the size that they've got, and Rick Tocchet again and Adam Foote. They've got a system and a style that certainly allows those guys to thrive. Tyler Myers had his best season in ages. Like, people here wanted to run him out of town. People were counting down the days for years until his contract was off the books, and then they went and they recommitted 3 more years at $3 million. So the money's not the problem, but 3 more years. Tyler Myers is going to be 35 this year. We'll see how that one ages. But yeah, I do wonder if at some point they have to explore and experiment splitting Hughes and Hronek just to have a little bit more balance in their top 2 pairs.
Well, I think the other thing is historically, it's rare to have a D pair that small have success if you want to go deep in the playoffs. Right. Like, and you look at Quinn Hughes is like, he didn't have the offensive production that he was got. Now their whole team, like the thing about the Canucks that I found odd in that Nashville and Edmonton series, Jeff, it's like they almost settled to not create offense.
Right. I think honestly, one of the worst things that happened to them was eliminating Nashville with a 1-0 win. I think they kind of fooled themselves into thinking that was their blueprint, that they could win more games that way. Well, you're taking on the Oilers in the next round, and guess what? Once the Oilers score 1, you need 2. And 2 became a massive ask for the Canucks on a lot of nights, certainly in game 6 and 7 when they had, the chance to eliminate the Oilers and they just couldn't generate anything. And yeah, it felt like there was a mindset there that they were setting out to win every game 1-0. And that's just a foolish plan ultimately in the National Hockey League against most opponents, but particularly against a team that has the firepower the Oilers did. So you're right. Quinn Hughes wasn't at his absolute apex, 92 points in the regular season, the Norris Trophy, but in the playoffs, teams targeted him, and so they should. I mean, he really is the most important skater. Nashville took a pound of flesh. I mean, every time they had an opportunity, they finished checks, and I think it did sort of wore him down a little bit, so he wasn't as effective there. And then into the second round against the Oilers. So, there were some learnings for the Canucks, certainly. 13 playoffs games. It was fun. The market was re-energized. But ultimately, they won 7 playoff games where you need 16 to win the Stanley Cup. So there's still a lot of ground to travel. And I think guys like Hughes and Pettersson have to recognize that, there were some shortcomings in the playoffs. What do they take away from it? And how do they apply it next year if and when they get back to the postseason?
Jeff Patterson joins us. Jeff, any other moves you think they might be looking? Is there anybody in the bargain bin right now in free agency? Because, hey, you can do a lot of really good, effective shopping late in the free agency for basically from the 5th of July on until September. Did you see any other depth guys that might be a match for them?
I still think that they may look for a puck-moving defenseman. Again, at this stage of the calendar, most of the good ones are off the shelf, but a guy that profiles to at least have some offense to his game that has NHL games on his resume. I'm not talking about a minor league flyer at this point. I think that, they've got a little bit of money to spend. They could also put Tucker Poolman back in LTIR, although Patrick Allvin has said he would prefer to operate without LTIR so that they have a little bit more flexibility. They were up against the cap all season long last year. And, they made the Zadorov move in November. They got Lindholm at the All-Star break. There was a push to get one more scorer in here, and they just didn't have the flexibility. So I think they would like to preserve a little bit of wriggle room there. So we'll see what happens. But look, they signed Pius Suter in August last year and got him at a really attractive and affordable price for 2 years. And then they started to make trades when trades weren't happening, added Sam Lafferty. They added Casey DeSmith just before the season started. So, I think they understand that there will be opportunities as teams try to shed salary, as teams try to pare down their roster right ahead of opening night. And maybe they go into the season and see what this defense core looks like with the big boys on the back end and Hughes. And maybe you split Hughes and Hronek some nights. Maybe sometimes you put them together. Like, I think as much fun as it was to see them win 50 games and 109 points, I'm not sure that they have to get back to those totals next season.
No, I don't think it's possible.
They also, home ice, ultimately, what did it mean in Game 7? Nothing. I could see this team taking a small step back, being closer to a 45-win kind of season, 100, 102 points, but be far more structurally sound, be better balanced, have guys that are at the tops of their games and peaking when the playoffs get around, rather than, it was ridiculous how many goals they scored starting on opening night against the Oilers last year, the 8, 10 in San Jose. The first half of the season was a carnival. And then they couldn't find offense when they needed it when the chips were down. And so I could see them sort of looking at last season in its entirety and saying, you don't have to win big in November and December. Save some of that for games down the stretch and into the playoffs.
It's very true. Jeff, great stuff, man. We appreciate it as always. Enjoy some little bit of a downtime in the offseason.
I hope so. I spent my morning out at UBC at Canucks development camp. I think that's the last time I'm going to be in a hockey rink for, well, let's say till Labor Day, unless I get word that some of the pro guys are in town early and skating. But yes, I think officially I've put hockey rinks behind me for a couple of months now.
All right, buddy. Well, always good to talk to you, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, Jason.
It's Jeff Patterson joining us from Vancouver. So I would agree with Jeff, everything he said. I think Vancouver isn't as good. I think, and that's, they're not awful. Like, I still think they're a playoff team, but they had a lot of things go well. And he's right. Their early season games, man, they had some crazy games. 10-8. I think they had 2-7 wins. Like, you rack up a lot of goals in a quick period of time. And it is funny how do they need home ice? I think Edmonton, it's funny. Edmonton made it all the way to the Cup final, but they lost, and they had to start the Stanley Cup final on the road. They had to start the Western Conference final on the road. They had to start the Pacific final on the road. I don't think they want to do that. That's just lots of extra travel, right? You have to fly to that city. It's just all, it adds up. So I think the Oilers for sure will be looking at first in their division. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more. It's the Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, it's Thursday. $1,000 a day for the next 20 years of your life. It's $1,000 a day, $7.2 million. You just wake up every day. Cha-ching. Oh, what's that? Oh, $1,000. Nice. I can go do some work if I like, relieve some stress. Be unbelievable. Check it out. Play the grand a day at PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
and with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
The sports world never clocks out. Neither do we. Sports 1440 has you covered with Fox Sports tonight after 9 and all weekend long. So when you're ready to head home, we're warming up again. Sports 1440, bringing you an all-star performance every day.
Hey, Leduc, can leading edge physiotherapy help you? Well, this is a question I face every day. Let me answer the best I can. Do you have a pain or injury to your toe, foot, ankle, knee, hip, lower back, middle back, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, or finger? Are you dealing with a sprain, strain, fracture, tendonitis, bursitis, arthritis, dizziness, balance issues, surgery, whiplash, or headache? Okay, I can't list all the problems that we can help in leading edge physio in under 30 seconds, and I can't promise we fix everyone. But I can promise that we'll combine our experience, skills, technology, and hands-on care to give you an edge. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
Clear up some garage space and keep your tires in prime condition at Windermere Chrysler. We offer convenient, on-site seasonal tire storage that ensures your tires are safe, sound, and ready when you need them. With every service visit, enjoy a complimentary tire and wheel alignment analysis, plus a thorough car wash and vacuum. Trust Windermere Chrysler to maintain both your vehicle and your tires to impeccable condition.
The choice is clear.
It's Windermere.
Visit windermeredodge.ca.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear-out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you're having an awesome day. Ooh, big trade today in the NBA as the Warriors get one of the best three-point shooters in Mr. Hield out of the 76ers. Interesting. He'll join Steph Curry. Now, I don't know if it's really enough for them, to be honest, but it's a change. We'll see. We'll see. You know, the Warriors, man, for many years they were the most exciting team in the NBA, no question. Great to watch. Won a lot, and it seems like it just kind of ended with a thud. But maybe that's just kind of how it goes, right? They still have Steph Curry, but it's kind of similar a little bit to Chicago Blackhawks. You know, when you had Patrick Kane at the end, but the rest of the team wasn't very good. And that's kind of how I thought when I thought their mistake as an organization was when they let Draymond Green punch a teammate in the face. I don't care what happened. That's when I knew their organization was going in the wrong direction. There's no coming back from that. Just that there just wasn't. You can't convince me otherwise. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And hey, just in time for summer, The Brick's amazing deals will go now to Monday. Stop in. You can find chest freezers for only $199, so you can keep your game day snacks chilled all day long at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Gregor, question number 1. I asked you yesterday about Jeff Skinner. It's going to be tough next year, not messing that up. But I want to ask you now, Victor Arvidsson, presuming he does stay healthy, what do you think his stat line will look like next season?
Interesting question. It's been a few years since he had a big year, right? Said 60 twice, had 59 a few years ago. So if he's healthy, for me, if he's healthy, he's playing like 76, 77 games. I think he's a guy that, gets a game nicked up here or there. I will say 53 points.
How many goals?
26.
All right, I like it. I'll go a little higher. I'm going to say 57 points, but a little lower on goals, 24. I'm hoping you're right, though, because I think he's going to be a great addition for this Oilers team. Question number 2. This is very random, but how many goals do you think Ovechkin scores next year? Currently, he's 41 back of Gretzky. DFO has his line mates as Tom Wilson, Dylan Strome. What do you think for the grade 8 next season?
Well, you know what? Look at Washington and all the changes they've made, right? Like they've done everything in their power to try to make that team more competitive around Ovi. Now, the big question is, he had a terrible start, but then he came on. I'm going to say he scores 32 goals.
I like that number. Yeah, he came on so strong. I mean, with his career, it's hard to think that he could struggle in the way he did early on in the season. So I'll go a little higher. I'm going to take him at 35, still short of Gretzky for next season. Question number 3 for you. We've got 2 undefeated teams in the CFL this week, 2 winless teams. So of those 4, which do you think will experience victory or defeat for the first time this season?
You go ahead.
Okay, well,
start with the teams that are undefeated.
Undefeated. Okay, so Toronto is in Saskatchewan tonight. That's the Saskatchewan's 3-0. I will say Saskatchewan loses. I wasn't overly impressed with them when they beat the Elks. So Saskatchewan loses.
Okay.
Ottawa, I think, will beat Winnipeg 0-4. I'll say Montreal remains undefeated, defeats Calgary, and BC beats Hamilton, who is 0-4. So I think only Saskatchewan gets the first one on their record.
Ooh.
The other teams keep losing and keep winning.
Yeah, I would agree with you on Montreal. Yeah, Winnipeg's got to win. I can't see how that continues. So yeah, I'll go with the same as you. Actually, I know that's really boring, but it's hard for me. Although, you know what? Let me change my mind. Saskatchewan doesn't have Trevor Harris. They're losing.
There you go. There's your yours tonight. Okay. Let's go to question number 4 here. Of course, today is Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest every July 4th. They also have the Lemonade Drinking Contest. If you had to participate, I'm not going to say hot dogs and lemonade, but a food eating or drinking contest, what would you prefer, food or drink?
So what's the Lemonade Drinking Contest?
It happens before. I think kind of a ramp up to it.
But is it like you just have to drink as many glasses as you can? So people that open their throat win, I'm assuming?
So Eric Badlands Booker, he shattered the world record Let me just get the numbers here for you. He drank an entire gallon of lemonade in 21 seconds.
Yeah, so he knows how to open his
So
throat.
yeah, he just pours it down.
I can't do that. So I would suck at that. You couldn't pay me to practice to try to be in a food eating if I had it over time, so it's not to speed. I drink a lot of water all the time. If I was at a water drinking contest, I think I could do all right. And if it came to sweets, well, oof. Yeah, like I'm just not a huge eater, so I don't know if I'd win any of them. But I could probably give Big Turk a run. The Big Turk bites, I can crush a lot of those for a long time.
Yeah, I'm like you. I have buddies who can open the throat and just pour beers back.
I've seen people do it, and I'm like, hey, buddy, that's impressive, but I can't.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I would have no chance. So I'm going to lean towards eating. Not exactly sure what it was. I'm more of a slow paced guy. I like to enjoy it, but between the two, I'm certainly going eating. And yeah, I wonder how those competitive eaters stumble into it. It must start at a bar or something, and then you just go from there. My final question for you, since it is July 4th, if you could spend the day golfing with any 3 Americans all time, who would you pick?
They got to be Americans?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can go first if you want to think.
Yeah, let me think about that.
So for me, like, they're lame, but well, some of them are. I think I would pick my hero, LaDainian Tomlinson, great American, MVP, Hall of Famer. I'd have to go with the Charger trend continuing, Phillip Rivers, because I think he would just be interesting to golf with. And for historical reasons, I'll give me Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest Americans of all time.
Now, do they have to be American? Can they be living in America for a long time?
You thinking like Schwarzenegger?
Well, no. But
he came to mind first.
Sure, yeah. No, hey, you know what? I would take Arnie.
Yeah, hey.
He'd probably have a lot of good stories. But I would go with Tom Hanks because he's been in a lot of movies I've really liked. So I think I could ask him a lot of questions. I think I would enjoy that. The one I was asking was like, you'd want to just for the opportunity, I'd like to meet Kate Beckinsale to see if she's as nice as I think she is, but I don't know. I have no idea if she can golf, and really I don't care if it's about the golf. And then the other one would probably be he's not. See, I want to Steve Carell because
Okay.
I'd want some. I'd want him or Will Ferrell. I'd want some humor involved.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, like I know we got a lot of people texting Jordan. Yeah, the thing is, you couldn't really have fun golfing with Jordan because he's so competitive and he's way better than way better than me. I'm sure guys out there that are good golfers, they'd probably be up for the challenge, but that's not me. So
just trash talking you the whole time.
Well, I don't think he'd really trash talk you because it's like, hey, MJ, like you're a better golfer. So what? We want to have a Donald Duck talking contest? I'll kick your ass. So it all depends on what skill we're going to debate here, right? Everybody has a skill, so we'll see. But yeah. That wouldn't. I just want somebody who's like fun on the course, doesn't take it too serious. Like I like golf, don't get me wrong, but if you have a foursome, you want some people that are good conversationalists. I would think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I would guess Steve Carell would add a little humor to it. Seems pretty laid back guy. Him or Gosling? I'm a big fan of Gosling lately. I don't even know if he's American or not, but
Ryan Gosling,
yeah,
Canadian.
Gosling's Canadian too.
Yeah.
See, I thought so. It wasn't. That's why I said I'm not sure he's American, but Gosling's Canadian.
Yeah.
Really?
Born in London, Ontario.
Oh, there you go. Did not know that.
Yeah, he's awesome. Fall Guy was great for those who haven't seen it yet.
Now he was born there, but did he grow up in Canada?
Pretty sure, but he got his start young. Like he was on
like the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, so he would have had to move to the States.
Yeah. So that's always a thing. Like, yeah, you're born in Canada. It's like no one ever says, like most people say Steve Smith's Canadian. Well, he wasn't born here, right? So to me, it's where do you reside the most of your time, right? That's kind of where I look at it. But he was born, you're right, in London, Ontario. I'd like to know.
I do think he claims to be a proud Canadian.
Okay, well, great, good for him.
Then who's the other one? Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I know Reynolds. Yeah, but he grew up in Vancouver, man. Lived there most of his life. So, there you go. So they moved around a lot. They lived in Cornwall, Burlington. Now I'm looking it up. So there you go. He said he had no friends until he was 14 or 15. Yikes. It's not good.
Never give up, kids.
Yeah. That's, well, obviously, yeah. Well, that's tough. Let's take a quick break. When we come back in hour number 4 today, we will be joined by Rod Peterson, talk a little football, south and north of the border, maybe a little parade. And now it was raining pretty hard in Florida. I saw it in their parade, and people were, mocking, they don't have any fans at the parade happened. Don't be a sore loser. That doesn't really make you feel better. Truly, it doesn't. It might for a short time, but not a long time. It's kind of like, then you become like a Matthew Tkachuk. Do you want to be a Matthew Tkachuk? Maybe as a hockey player, not as a chirper. We'll see. Let's get to the Common Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Booster Juice. And stop in at Booster Juice right now. And guess what? It's back. The watermelon wave. And you're going to need it because the wave of heat is coming. Download the Booster Reward app now, and you can order the new watermelon wave back by popular demand.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Week 5 in the CFL kicks off tonight out in Saskatchewan. Riders taking on the Argos. Kicked off at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. Some news from the CFL. An arbitrator has reinstated the league's indefinite suspension of Alouettes defensive lineman Sean Lemon for gambling on sports. The league said in a statement that Lemon will remain suspended until after an arbitration hearing, which has been scheduled August 1st and 2nd. Major League Baseball today, the Jays falling at home to the Houston Astros 5-3. Elsewhere, Red Sox over the Marlins 6-5. Guardians doubled up the White Sox 8-4 as the Twins over the Tigers 12-3. Padres down the Rangers 3-1. The Athletics shut out the Angels 5-0. And Mariners over the Orioles 7-3. Tonight, you got the Giants and Braves in about 20 minutes. Rockies host the Brewers, Rays in Kansas City, and the Dodgers up against the Diamondbacks. Copa America tonight. Ecuador takes on Argentina from Energy Stadium in Houston. First round about to get going at 7 o'clock. Euro Championship tomorrow. Spain, Germany at 10 a.m. Then at 1 o'clock, you got Portugal taking on France. And tonight in the WNBA, the Connecticut Sun head to Minneapolis to take on the Lynx. That gets going at 6. At 8 o'clock, the Aces hosting the Mystics. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spectre of Rogers Sportsnet and the host of the Rod Peterson Show, Rod Peterson. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, Elks fans.
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave in 118th.
Hey, Kevin, what are you doing in here?
Well, last month you were giving away, so I just thought I would see if you were still giving away in June.
Stop swearing. And yes, we are still giving away in June at St. Albert Dodge. Take our 2024 Durango. Was $64,500 and now just $52,900. Need a new Ram 1500 4x4 crew cab? We've got it. Originally $63,700, now just $44,900.
See, you are still giving away.
Kevin, stop swearing. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Hey, Edmonton sports fans. My name is Jonas Knox. I host Two Pros and a Cup of Joe for Fox Sports weekday mornings from 4 to 7. Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington join me, and hopefully you will too, right here on Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one down, better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's sold for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
and with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has been the trusted heart of Central Alberta. We're not just a dealership, we're a tradition of honesty and excellence with honest pricing and genuine service. We've proudly earned Canada's only 51-time President's Award for customer satisfaction. Join our extended family and experience the Denham Ford difference. Whether on the Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or online at denhamford.ca, your journey to trust and excellence starts with us. Denham Ford, driving tradition forward.
Cruise through summer with a sleek new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi,
Explore the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada.
including the dynamic Outlander PHEV and the sporty Eclipse Cross.
At Cross Mitsubishi, you'll get 0% financing on all our 2024 models, including the RVR and Mirage.
Plus, every Mitsubishi comes with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer powertrain limited warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Avenue and crossmitsubishi.ca.
We continue on a Thursday afternoon. How are you? Happy Independence Day for all of those listening south of the border. As we talked to Mike Rupp last night, hopefully everything works out with the fireworks. Okay. We were telling the stats of how many fireworks related injuries and deaths. And man, when you see some of the videos that have been posted online lately, you're like, yeah, okay, I see what happens. It's, you know what? It's good intentions that go wrong quickly. And yikes. You know, people losing hands and, you know, some losing eyes. Like, it's no joke, man. So be careful. Be careful for all of you doing that. It is always brought to you by playalberta.ca. Grand a day. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. That's 20 years. You get $1,000 a day. $7.2 million. Woo! That'd be like the best message you get every day. You know, some be like, I don't like the people that text me. You would never get upset about that. Oh, here you go. Deposit. Every day. $1,000. I wonder if you could set the time. That's what I'd want. I want it at this time of day. I want to be sitting at the kitchen table, having my breakfast. All of a sudden, you know what? Boom, I just know it's there. I don't have to have my phone with me. Just boom, I know it's there. Could leave my phone across and just hear the bing, and you know what it means. $1,000. Nice. Let's get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Somebody gets a few texts and emails. Maybe not the nicest ones, but a GS right now, trust me. You want a job? You want a good job for a great company? 50 years. So they're huge hockey fans, just like you. So they got a great team atmosphere, and they love promoting from within. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction as Mark Spectre from Rogers Sportsnet. joins us once again. Spec, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day. Looks like a awesome weekend coming up. How can you not be doing great?
Hey, Spec, have you ever jumped off the high platform at the Kinsman pool?
Oh, yeah. Right. When I was in school, we went there. So, yeah, I jumped off it a few times. I'd jump off it again, man. I like jumping off of high places.
Oh, really? Ooh, nice. I know my son did the 5-meter one at Terwilliger, which is nice. And but when we're going to go to the Kinsman, and I don't know if he's ready for it yet, but we'll see. Geez, I don't know. I've been a while since I've been on it, but I might have to. I still remember how to. The key is just make sure your feet are pointed inwards when you land. So
well, the cool thing about the Kinsman is they have that bubble thing. So it shoots a whole bunch of air up from the bottom of the pool. At least it used to, like when the divers, like when I went off it, and you would time your jump. So the water, actually the bubbles came up. So the water wasn't like a flat surface, right?
No,
it was all bubbly. So it didn't matter. Like you went in the water, it felt great. So I don't know if they still do that stuff anymore, but yeah, make sure your feet are together because you don't want to hit that water too hard with your feet apart. That's for sure.
Definitely not feet apart. Might be speaking a tad higher pitch after that, to say the least. We were talking about the Elks earlier. They have a bye week, and you look at the success the Stingers are having in town. They got a good team. They built a good atmosphere. People like to go. The Riverhawks are doing fantastically well. The ownership here of the Elks, Spec, it's getting closer to being done. I don't know when the official change is going to happen. Maybe not till Labor Day. I don't know. Obviously, there's legalities and everything else involved. I look, how long do you think it takes for the Elks to be relevant again in the eyes of sports fans in Edmonton?
Well, that's a good question. What's happened with the Elks? And I mean, it's a long conversation, man. There was a time when the Eskimos were, people just went to the Eskimos out of habit in this city. Like you just went. There was 20, 30, 40 year season ticket holders, and tickets were cheap, and you just renewed your season tickets every year. When I was a kid, every family on the block went to the game. Those days aren't here anymore. And that organization has done a great job of eroding loyalty. We can talk all day about changing the name. That didn't go over well. It was a bad idea, and it didn't just hurt that team, it injured them badly. Couple that with losing for how many years in a row have they not been a very good team? Certainly 3 years. The Chris Jones hiring was as fatal a mistake as you could make as an organization, right? He's not getting the job done, and he's not a great guy. So give me a redeeming feature about having Chris Jones running this team, and I'll buy you a cold beer. So they've dug about 14 holes, and now you look around and you look at the Riverhawks, and they're awesome, and the entertainment is unbelievably great. And you look at the Stingers. My son's a season ticket holder. He brings his wife and a young baby, and they have the best time they ever had in their life there. They love that team. The team wins. The Riverhawks win. The Oilers are winning, and the Elks are 0-4 again. So the hole is deep, but it doesn't mean you can't get out of it, Jay. You just got to stop digging. Is be a place to start, huh?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, they you know what? Like, I think the new owner, when he comes in, knowing the community mind that you have in Edmonton, I still believe there's lots of people who want to care about the team. I firmly believe they do. And
I'm with you.
Like I've heard some rumblings that, they might change it. And I think the name it'll get some people to come back, but I don't think the vast exodus is because of the name change. I think the vast exodus was how they treated their loyal fan. The name change was one thing, but it's when you call your fan base too old and too white, right? Which is essentially what Ian said. Like, what are you doing? Like,
what are you doing?
Did you want to get younger and more diverse? 100%. But that doesn't mean you spit in the face of the people that supported you. So as long as they did, like to me, the demise of this organization was the board got too involved and you had way too many people who didn't like. There were some people on the board that were very good. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to paint everybody on the board with the wrong brush, but I can tell you, having talked to some previous board members who were on that board for many years ago, seeing what the board has done recently, they disagree with it. And Ian was one of the worst decisions they had by that organization to put him as at the head of the board. It was an absolute gong show with him, right? Then Victor, like, look at the hiring. Preston, terrible. Victor Cui, terrible. So, the new owner's got some work, but I also think he'll get a lot of support. And he'll come in, be transparent, be honest, and just don't try to sugarcoat anything. I think just come in and be very honest. You know what? We got a lot of work to do. We got to repair some bridges here. You know what? We made this wrong. We insulted some of our loyal base. We want to make the games fun and exciting. I actually think their in-game entertainment's actually improved a lot. The staff there now are actually doing a good job, but the team isn't winning. And there's still a lot of people that are just annoyed. I do think once there's a new owner, there'll be some people that say, okay, you know what? I'll give him a new chance. I'll give him a new start. I'll go. I honestly believe there's going to be some of that. And I'm curious if he gets a group of people similar to the Copper Jackets with when they come back in and do a similar campaign internally, because the tickets are very affordable.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I'll say this. I mean, first of all, I think they've hit rock bottom, and they've done it under what will be known as previous ownership. So the new guy coming in, he's starting, or she is, whoever they are, the new owner is starting at a place where there's nowhere to go but up. That's the first thing. The second thing is this is an unbelievably good sports town. The third thing is the Elks / Eskimos. There is still a ton of loyalty in this town towards them, even though all the things you just noted happened. I still think there's a lot of people in this town who want to have a reason to go to a game, to cheer for the team, to be proud of their football team. So to me, frankly, it's got to start on the field. They got to give a product, give fans a product that we, and I'll say we, because I don't cover that team. I'm an Edmontonian. I grew up the biggest Eskimo fan you ever met in your life. You got to give us fans something to grab onto here, something to cheer for. And sorry, losing on last second field goals doesn't work anymore, man. It's been too long. So they got to win. Got to win some games. They have to win all the games. You got to win some games. You might want to play Trey Ford and give a fan something to latch on to here, because right now there's just been nothing.
No, that's very true. Mark Spectre joins us here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. One last one for you, Spec. We had Jeff Patterson on from Vancouver talking about the Canucks, and he thinks they've maybe taken a little bit of a step back. They're going to be a playoff team in my eyes, and unless something horribly goes wrong for that team. But I don't see them in the like Edmonton's gone up. I think Vancouver's gone down. Vegas, they just got slower. I don't know. We'll see. They'll be competitive. I still think they're a playoff team, but I don't see them, busting out of the gate, whatever they were, 15-3-1 or whatever it was last year. And then they were one of the worst. Like they were 24 to 21st place team for the last 60 games in the NHL last year, right? Like they weren't that good. So, I'm kind of curious to see, is there a team in the West that you think is going to take a big step forward next year?
Ooh, a big step forward. Boy, that's a good question. I will. Let me start with Vancouver. They're kind of that team that had a really high shooting percentage, right? They're down. They're bound to kind of step back. This is a team that went from missing the playoffs to winning the division. That team always takes a bit of a step back. I like Vancouver. I think they're the second best team in the Pacific. And I'm not one of these Oiler people that's just Edmonton people that are beating on the Canucks. I like their team. I think they got some good things there. I have a hard time thinking they're going to be as good next year. I think they'll take a step back a little bit during the regular season. So the team you're talking about, Jason Gregor, would reside in the Central Division for me. A team that's moving forward, that's taking a step ahead.
Okay.
And oh boy, what team is it? I mean, I want to say the Dallas Stars, but are they taking a step ahead? They're already an excellent team. I don't see Colorado taking a step ahead. They got some issues there. I don't know what's going on with Nikushkin. I don't know what's going on with Landeskog.
Yeah.
The Jets didn't get any better. Right? The Jets didn't get any better, man. So Jeez, I'll
Like,
tell you.
is it Nashville? Like, my thing about Nashville is I get it, but they're pretty slow. Like, they don't have a lot of speed on that team.
That's the only team in the Central that added guys that clearly improved their team. So let's pick Nashville. I think, I don't want to. It's a long season and lots of stuff can happen. But to me, when you're the team that came out of the West, you keep your whole team and you add Arvidsson and Skinner. I have a hard time looking at someone else in the West who kept up to them. Frankly, can you?
No, I would agree. I think on paper the Oilers have maybe created a little bit more of a gap, for sure. So, but they got to take advantage of it and finish first and get home ice. There's
a lot of things. Yeah. I think that the one thing I see, this is my, I'll read it one day, but not 2 day. I think that one of the biggest differences we're going to see in the Oilers next year, Jay, I think they're going to have 2 power play units. I think they got enough guys. It's time to stop feeding the same 5 guys a minute 45 of power play time. They got too many guys here, right? They got a legit second unit. I think it's time to go through a season where McDavid and Draisaitl aren't carrying you all the way. I think that it's time to go into a playoffs with a fresher top 6. And I think they got the horses this year. They can play that game. What do you think?
I don't know, man. That power play is such a unit. You know what? It might be that it's up to 40 seconds, maybe 35, but I don't see it being a minute split. I don't see that. I don't even think it's going to be 120-40. I just think the first unit's so good that it's hard not to play them.
I want to say this. The first unit sometimes holds the puck in the other team's zone for a minute and a half. So you're clearly not changing. Right?
Yeah.
You're clearly not changing. They very often score in the first minute and a half, so you're clearly not changing. But I want to say, I think it's time to tell that unit when there's an icing after the minute mark, get off and give it to the other guys.
All right. Spec, good stuff, buddy. We will chat with you tomorrow. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
All right. Let's Mark Spectre, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. I get the theory. I'm not sure I like the practicality of it. But we'll see. Like when Arvidsson even said, he goes, I'm not expecting to get power play time. Like, it's just so good. Why would you? Like, I don't like the Oilers. They score a lot. I got to go through it. And I think I did. Well, I know 2 years ago I did it. And the Oilers scored quite a few goals in the last 30 seconds of the power play. So, I don't know. Their second unit's good. It ain't that good. Quick break. We'll come back. Rod Peterson will join us next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Be melon jolly, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt, and fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Rule number 33. White shirts attract Stampede Mustard like magnets. Maybe just bring a spare. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules, and if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
and with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
What's cracking at Cattail? Maybe you've got the next tiger on your hands. Cattail Crossing offers young golfers Operation 36, a program to improve their growing skill set with other golfers their age. To register, email proshop@cattailcrossing.ca.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Bonton Bakery has been baking bread since 1956, but also offers a whole store of delicious local and specialty foods today. So we're not just your daily bread source. Bonton has treats for your friends and workmates, cakes for those special occasions, monthly features so you can try something new each time you visit, including many healthy options. There's something for everyone. Bonton Bakery, open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday, online at bonton.ca.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
The Bricks Appliance Super Sale is here. Check out amazing deals on all major appliances, like chest freezer starting at just $199 and washer and dryer packages for under $1,500. Shop incredible deals in other departments, like up to $920 off sofas and sectionals. Plus, from July 5th to 8th only, get specialty prices like mattresses starting at just $149 and buy more, save more, up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more. $5:30. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, as always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. As we get to the oil report, brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, Canada's #1 Volvo dealership. If you've never driven a Volvo, you should try it. I'm telling you, the XC90 or the XC60, either one, depends on your size, how much storage space you want. They're unreal. Pretty much self-driving, honestly, especially on the highway. It's amazing. It's got all the bells and whistles. Lovely. Check it out at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. And host of the Rod Peterson Show, usually out of Florida, but he's back in town. Big reason to come back to Canada, RP. The Moose Jaw Warriors' first ever WHL title. You're in town for the golf tournament. Man, that thing must be rocking. That town's still got to be buzzing over that title.
Can we speed this up, Jason? Because I got to get inside. The boys are here. They're all excited, as you can imagine. Theo's here, of course. Mike Keane. I'm not actually at the golf course. This is the social the night before at the Moose Jaw Shriners Club. So it's going to, it's going to rock. It'll be a long night.
Oh, it'll be a fun night. Like you think about how big, you know what, you lived in Saskatchewan for a long, long time, right? You kind of bleed, the colors of the whole province. You know, you did play-by-play in so many different sports. And, that Moose Jaw Warriors team, those small markets. And, when Prince Albert won a few years ago, it was massive for them. And, Moose Jaw's had some good teams. But, man, and not only how they won, but 6 out of 7 games going to overtime against their rival. And that is one of probably the greatest WHL series of all time.
They're saying that the hockey people are saying is the greatest ever. And it's funny because I've been with the Warriors people a lot, and they won't say it, but I will. They're like, did you hear what the Blades are saying? They're saying they were the better team. We won. And then they went on to sweep Portland. So they're like, if the Blades want to say that, fine. They are having a great summer. The party has not stopped, Gregor, for the Moose Jaw Warriors, nor should it.
Yeah, and because I know for Prince Albert, it's a big moneymaker for a small market team.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to sell out crowds, and they were able to finally get upgrades and get the new scoreboard and everything in PA. Well, what's Moose Jaw? Is there anything, because their arena's not that old, but do you see anything that they're going to want to upgrade because of this?
Oh, they want a new clock, but the rink's 10 years old. And when they won the league, the first thing, the thought that popped into my mind was they finally have a team that matches that facility. And you must have seen it. You watched your nephew.
I was there. Did my show from there a few times.
Yeah, like it's a mini NHL arena.
Yeah.
So they got a team that matches it. And now they want a new clock in there because, as you know, time marches on. So, but they got the money to do it. And good times. Fun being here.
Now, of course, you're in Florida lots, and the Panthers. Obviously, they've had 3 really good years, right? Like it's not just a one-year wonder. You have President's Trophy, and they dominated that year. I was looking up their 5-on-5 numbers. They set the NHL record in the 2000s, most 5-on-5 goals, and they outscored teams by like 70. They had a 500 shot differential advantage at 5-on-5 that year. Then they lose in the Cup final last year. Now they win in a thrilling Game 7. This season. Now, I know a lot of people online, because, that's what online does is, they're like, they don't have a lot of fans. I think they've really built up their fan community, Rod. It's obviously not going to be like Canada, right? It's not going to be like Saskatchewan for the Rough Riders or anything. But for a guy who's there all the time, what's been the biggest improvement? And do you think this championship will bring even more fans to the Panthers?
It will. It's going to get more kids playing hockey, Jason. That's the one thing that we're all excited about. I hope you'll see more NHLers come out of South Florida or the whole state of Florida. But I was hoping winning would remove the chip off their shoulder, because they got a real problem with people saying they're not great fans. They're not a legitimate hockey market. So again, I was hoping this would alleviate that. And it has not, because you watched the draft, or maybe you were there. They're all upset that nobody congratulated the Panthers at the podium Friday night in round 1. I'm like, you guys, who cares? Like you won. Like that annoyed me. And it also bothered me a little bit to be cheering for Florida, because I wasn't against the Oilers. They were my childhood team. It was just, for me, it was a win-win scenario with whoever won. And, the Oilers Game 7, it's 50-50. But anyways, the party hasn't really stopped. The interesting thing is with Montour leaving, Lomberg leaving, these are like household names down there now. Tarasenko did his job and is gone. They love Stolars for whatever reason. Nobody seems that upset. I don't know if it's they're still in the euphoric state of winning the Stanley Cup or whatever, but that's a lot of change for coming back next year.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, you look at, they lost some guys. Edmonton lost, like, they're 1 game difference. Now, maybe that's why all the Edmonton guys came back, right? The pain of losing. They're like, God, we were so close. Yeah. But the Oilers, a lot of people look and say, hey, they were a really good team, and they might have gotten better by bringing in Skinner and Arvidsson. Well, not might have. I think they did.
Yeah, well, and if their goal is to get back, which it obviously is, I think it's a legitimate shot that they could do that. The Panthers, I haven't heard a whole lot. Like a year ago at this time, when they lost to Vegas in a 5-game series, the story they were purporting, the Panthers were in the market, was if we were healthy, we'd have beat Vegas. And we were like, no, you wouldn't have. There's no way. But that's what the fans were believing. And they're like, we're going to go back this year and win it. And I didn't honestly think they were going to be able to do that. But at the trade deadline, they got better, right? Tarasenko was key for them. And they are going to be good. You talked about how they've been building. They've been in the playoffs 5 straight years. I don't know how long Paul Maurice is going to be here. Probably as long as he wants to be. But, Bob's in his late 30s. He's not going anywhere. He was a Vezina finalist this year. So the Panthers are going to be good for a while. But there isn't any talk about repeating, is my point. They're still partying in Florida, too.
Yeah. Rod Peterson joins us. RP, you're back in Saskatchewan. So, of course, the Riders are undefeated. But their quarterback's hurt again. How concerned are they about that injury?
Well, I don't know. They're not saying anything outwardly about it. Tonight, I said tonight's game should be sponsored by Michelin because there's a lot riding on it. It should have been Trevor Harris versus Chad Kelly, the quarterback battle, but it's not. It's Cam Dukes for the Argos, Shea Patterson for the Rough Riders, and he's making his first career start. And while Dukes isn't a household name, it's his 6th career start. These are 2 young quarterbacks. Jason, you know this. Your first start's a big deal.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm very interested to see how the game goes. 7:00 kickoff at Mosaic Stadium. If Patterson leads the Riders to victory, all will be good. And this regime will be, get credit for going with him coming out of training camp. But if they lose, they're going to be torched, man. They will be torched for not signing a veteran backup because Trevor Harris is 38 and oft injured.
Always hurt. Yes.
Right. And here he is. He didn't last to week 5. So that's the story of the game. One of the stories of the game tonight. I think it's going to be great.
Rod Peterson joins us. RP, we'll let you get into the festivities in Moose Jaw. Should be loads of fun and well deserved for that community and their team. Big win. It was a great series and always good to catch up with you. Are you going? Well, I guess you're at the Moose Jaw thing tonight. How long are you in Canada for?
I'm actually here till the end of summer. I'm actually broadcasting Western Canadian Baseball League.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. So I can't do the Florida heat, man. I can't do it. So I said to my gal, do you mind if I go to Canada for the summer? She's like, I'll pack your bags. She's from there. She's good. I'm not. So I'm up here for a while, man. I hope to see you.
Yeah, all right, buddy. Well, we'll catch up for sure. Have a good one. Enjoy tonight.
Thanks, man.
There you go. That's Rod Peterson, jack of all trades, man. That guy does a lot of games. I love it. And Moose Jaw, anybody who's ever been in Moose Jaw, I know somebody in that community, that's huge for them. To win. Honestly, it would be like Edmonton for how Oiler fans would celebrate the Cup. That's how Moose Jaw fans celebrate the WHL because they don't have an NHL team right there, right? Like that's their team and they never won. And now finally they've won. So you have the old fans who have been around for a long, long time. They're loving it. The younger generation of fans like this is amazing. So it's fantastic for them. It's always good to see it spread around. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got lots of texts. People are fired up about the green and gold. We'll get to some thoughts on that and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one down, better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
Albatross Roofing and Construction is hiring experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers in Edmonton. Must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy top wages, benefits, and career growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca. Join their expert team today.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby, or Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words.
Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time.
You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance.
Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Mr. Rooter sends his daughter to university.
You're sure you don't want to go to plumbing school?
No, Dad.
I want to be a civil engineer so I can plan the sewers.
What a dreamer. I have a surprise. Your dad, Mr. Ruda, is going to pay your tuition.
Oh my gosh, really?
Here you go.
Oh, coins. Why are they so dirty?
Well, it's every coin I ever snaked out of a toilet. You're welcome, sweetheart.
For an A-plus plumbing experience, call Mr. Rooter.
An accident. And it wasn't your fault.
How can I access funds for treatment?
What if I have to change jobs?
How do I even figure out how much my claim is worth?
What if my car is a write-off?
Is there funding for help with the housework?
It feels like no one has my back.
Robinson LLP does. Visit RobinsonLLP.com to find your injury lawyer. Robinson LLP, the recovery team.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Hey, if you're a basketball fan, you're going to want to check out the Basketball Show here on Sports 1440. I'm Paul Sir, and I'll be your host every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon right here on Sports 1440.
Ain't no way battle me, that's a sin. I won't ever slack up. Okay, better back up. Try and play the role and you're the whole fool actor. Get up, stand up, come up, put your hands up. If you got the feeling, jump up, press the.
That's one of the classic ageless songs, Jump Around, House of Pain. Woo. Anybody who was in their adult ages when at least probably 18 to 35 when that song came out, ooh, that was an absolute killer track at whichever nightclub you were at. Just the dance floor would go nuts when it came on. And even if you weren't a dancer, that could pull you out on the dance floor. That's how good that song was. Even Connor Halley might have got on the dance floor.
Oh, absolutely. But don't you just jump? I mean, how do people dance to that one?
Well, that's the whole point. Yeah, it's very simple. Right? You got to time. We got to do something in between, right? And then when the chorus comes on, yeah, you're up there, you're bouncing around. It's good times. It's a great song. Great. That's like you're at a house party. That one comes on. Everybody's having fun automatically.
One of the best traditions in college football, the Wisconsin jump around.
Yes. Yes. Hey, guys, that song makes me think of Mrs. Doubtfire. What? From the Bacon King. Really? And I remember Mrs. Doubtfire. I have no recollection of that song in Mrs. Doubtfire. I just, drive-by fruiting, a few other things. But, yeah, I don't remember that. Wow. Hey, guys, what do you think the chances are that Nurse gets traded and brings in a $5 to $6 million defender to replace him? Pretty much zero, Dennis. He has a no movement clause. He was very close with Draisaitl and McDavid. He was one game away from winning the Stanley Cup. Would tell you that, he needs to play better. I would say zero chance that that happens. I don't see it at all. So we'll see. Hey guys, Badland Chugs has 3.58 million subscribers. I first seen him during COVID and thought for 30 he would be dead by now. So what does he do? He just, Brennan, that's the guy who won the lemonade thing. He drinks. So he just chugs things online and people watch. Like, that's awesome. But how's it like, how do you like, what's different? Oh, now I'm chugging chocolate milk. Now I'm chugging lemonade. Now I'm chugging a beer. Like, I don't know. Like, all he does is open his throat. Like it goes down quickly. Like, is it like, what am I missing? Tell me what would make it new to make you keep coming back to watch it? I would be curious about that.
One of his top ones here is chugging 15 Dr. Peppers like Forrest Gump. 1.2 million views.
Really? Well, there you go. Nice. Hey, anytime you mention Forrest Gump, it's going to get some views.
So he also does the Mountain Dew, every dew. So he does every flavor of Mountain Dew, drinks them out of a hammer. Looks like he does some soup as well.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Basically, he chugs any kind of liquid.
Yeah, it looks like it.
There you go.
What a skill.
Hey, you know what? Whatever it takes, man.
He'll do baked beans.
Oh.
Dr. Pepper baked beans.
Oh, gross. Could you imagine what's happening off camera after all of this? That's the thing. Now, here's a question. Has he ever chugged 4 liters of milk?
Tribbiani style.
No, but chug them because they say if you chug 4 liters of milk, you can't keep it down. I don't know if that's like just a myth, an urban myth or not, but I'd be curious. Has he ever, let me know, Brennan, has he ever chugged milk, a 4-liter one, and then shown you? Because it's easy to, like, I'm sure he could open his throat and chug the milk, but then it's like within 20 minutes of it not coming back up. So that would be the key. So not that I'd want to watch that, but
6 months ago, he did the 3-liter chocolate pilk. That's
Okay.
Pepsi and milk.
But it's not 4.
But it's not 4. You're right.
Yeah. Right. That's a big, it's only 3/4. It's not enough. Hey guys, it's the scene where he has the kid's birthday party and the petting zoo in the house. I believe it's a scene where he gets divorced from Sean. Really? All right. See, it's funny. Like, I remember certain movies, but I don't remember that one. So certain songs in movies, though, there are certain songs that when you hear them, I understand why it reminds you of it. Right? Everybody's got a few, and it just automatically, when you hear that song, that's what it reminds you of. Right? Wild Thing. Kidding me? Every time now it's Major League. Automatically. I love it. And when you think about that movie, really is what relievers now can thank Major League and Wild Thing for doing it. Because I don't recall another major leaguer doing that prior. Right? As the closer come out of the bullpen and everybody goes crazy. Like Mariano Rivera, are you kidding me? Like Enter Sandman, that was unreal. Right? Diaz now has Timmy Trumpet. Right? He played it live once for him. Like, those are fun things. And I will tell you, the Edmonton Oilers are missing the boat on goal songs, individual. They're missing the boat. It's such a fun, easy thing. The teams that do it, their fans love it. Why not do it? You can't, because especially, like, they remember all the big name guys, sure. But then when it's a player who doesn't score very often, the fans are like, what's this song going to be? Right? It's great. Now, even though I shouldn't say that, they'll know what the song is, but they kind of wait. Because Buffalo would put out their song list at the start of the year. Each player, hey, what's your goal song? I'm telling you, they should have it. It would be easy. Hey, Gregor, is Pepsi and milk a thing from JC? What, like on a regular basis? I don't know.
As a kid, Boston Pizza used to have what they called the Volcano, which was Coke and milk, and the Root Bear, which was root beer and milk.
Really?
And we used to get them, yes.
Huh. How does it taste?
Like
on a what? Be honest. On a 1 to 10.
Like a 6.
Okay.
I'd say not terrible, but I haven't had one in 28 years probably, so there's a reason for that.
Okay. I didn't know. Like, because I like a float, which is ice cream, right? It's still dairy. So can you whip it up? Yeah, I would try the root beer one for sure. I'd probably try it with the orange. That's probably, if I had to pick one, that'd be how I would go with a little orange crush and milk. Maybe I'll start a new trend, Cons. Maybe we'll start a YouTube channel of just drinking, different mixtures. No thanks. I think that's past my prime. I'm past due of doing that. But the young kids, there's an idea. If it works, thank us later. On behalf of Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves an awesome evening. Turn Sports is up next. We'll be talking a lot of Euro and, of course, Copa Americas. Canada, Venezuela is coming up. Not tonight, but looking forward to that match. Let's get to the comment of Sports 1440 update brought to you by the Hockey's Hero Society, their charity golf tournament featuring NHL alumni in support of the Hockey Hero Society and the Whitecourt Boys and Girls Club. The gala dinner is Friday, September 6th, and then the golf is on the 7th. Sign up with your foursome and learn more at hockeyheroesgame.com. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Week 5 in the CFL gets going tonight, just about an hour and 10 minutes away. Saskatchewan undefeated, taking on the 2-1 Argos out in Saskatchewan. Some news off the field. An arbitrator has reinstated the CFL's indefinite suspension of Alouettes defensive lineman Sean Lemon for gambling on sports. The statements for Lemon said he'll be suspended until after an arbitration hearing, which has been rescheduled for August 1st and 2nd. Copa America tonight. Argentina battled Ecuador from Houston. That one's starting just after 7 o'clock tomorrow in the Euros. You got Germany and Spain at 10 a.m. and then at 1 p.m. it is Portugal taking on France. Major League Baseball right now. Just one game going on. Braves lead the Giants 2-0. That's in the top of the third. Earlier on today, the Blue Jays fell to the Astros 5-3. Elsewhere, Yankees knocked off the Reds 8-4. Cards over the Pirates 3-2. The Nationals get past the Mets 1-0. So the Tigers falling to the Twins 12-3 in 7. Cubbies over the Phillies 10-2, and the Padres knocked off the Rangers 3-1. Still to come tonight, the Royals up against the Rays, and the Diamondbacks head to LA to take on the Dodgers. WNBA tonight, the Lynx up against the Sun. That gets going in about 10 minutes time. And then at 8 o'clock, you got the Mystics heading to Vegas to take on the Aces. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, it's another edition of Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports